I'm Allison Mercer. This is Emily. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. I'm Emily. I am a local Georgia runner, part of GUTS, Georgia Ultra Trail Runners Society, and we are here at the Pine Mountain Trail Run as part of the 40-miler and the 19-miler. Allison, you are there's our lovely race director in the background. Allison, you are a local runner, but also run a lot of non-local races. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Allison Mercer, local to Atlanta, excited to be on the live stream, bringing you coverage of the Pine Mountain Trail Race, both the 19-miler and 40-miler. Ultra runner just set American Masters record in the 50-miler at Tunnel Hill. So giving a little of our color commentary, feedback, analysis of what you're about to see today.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think we had our 40-milers started at 6 a.m. this morning, and our 19-milers started just a little bit ago at 8 o'clock. So everybody should be on the course by now. There was a little bit of some iffy weather, but now we've got everybody on course.
And as you can see by the short sleeves and the shorts behind you, it's about 65 degrees. So very abnormal for December, but that's the South for you. Today it's 60. Tomorrow it could be 40. So I'm sure it's ideal conditions. It's overcast skies, so not a lot of sunlight gleaming down on the athletes running right now. And so far, I got a lot of rain on this morning. What about you?
Oh my gosh, the traffic conditions getting here. I think everybody was talking about the almost slip and slide nature getting here today.
Yeah. We'll be doing traffic and weather on the 20s and the 40s too as a part of the live stream.
Perfect. Yes. That's awesome.
And then, so have you done the 40 or the 19-miler? What has been your experience on the race?
I have done the 19. I did the 19 here about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, as one of my first trail races, actually. And that was quite an experience. I thought I could hang at the front of the pack and quickly learned that you have to pace yourself in trail races.
What's pacing?
Right? I always tell myself I have a plan, and then I promptly toss it out the window.
Right. It's like the Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Exactly, and this course will punch you in the face a couple times. The rocks will kind of come for your knees. Have you run this one, Allison?
I have not, but during around 2020, 2021, my husband, Ben, and I decided to check out Pine Mountain because we heard so much about it. And how technical it is, the pine straw. It is relentless. So I'm excited to hear what the athletes have to say about the course and how they do. And actually, we've been getting some updates already on the course. Yes. And we heard that Corey Waltering is actually through halfway, course record pace. And I heard it's his last race as a North Face athlete.
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
I did hear that. He has been doing so well all day. I think he's been about 15 minutes ahead of everybody else. Solidly maintaining that, by the way, kind of keeping that position.
I think it's just being, a local to Chattanooga for about the last 2-3 years. He's used to technical rocks, roots. I know when he signed up, he asked, what's the course like? And I was like, you've done Pinhoti, rocks, roots, which is what he loves. So he is in his element right now. The weather is holding off. Hopefully the leaves aren't too bad.
Yes, I know everybody always talks about the leaves. I think we like to think the fall is, September, October. But here in Georgia, it can be December a lot of times, right? That's when we get the fall. And the leaves kind of cover a lot of the rocks. It can be that very technical trail that if you run in the southeast, you're probably used to it. But it definitely throws some twists and turns and hopefully not twisted ankles your way.
I was going to say, we have Christmas in July. Now we have July and Christmas,
Perfect. Yes.
So, do you have any predictions for the females? I saw Holly Adams, a defending champion in the 40-miler, already having a lead.
That does not surprise me, knowing Holly at all. She did, like you said, she won last year for the female race and was second overall. So she will go out and just drop everybody. Like, she has a very good, like, she just runs and kind of throws anything out the window and goes for it. And it is admirable to see.
I mean, after what she did in No Business, having a
Yes.
third, I believe, second or third.
Second female.
That's
Second
right.
Female.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Continues to crush and just perform at such a high level, even as a mom, a nurse. These are people that it's not their full-time job, and this is for fun for them, and they still are consistently having podium finishes.
Yes. You raise a good point, Allison, that a lot of us, most of us probably, right, are not sponsored athletes, and we have to hold down jobs and lives and relationships. And this is meant to be something that hopefully feeds into our life and does not detract from our lives. And the people who balance doing all of that at a very high level, it's very cool to see.
And it just inspires you to go after it too and learn that balance. But it's cool today to see also all the volunteers, all the support, and also just people that are RDs for other races supporting this race too. It's always fun to see all the friendly faces like the Todd Hendersons and Jamie, and also Sarah Schneider and Sean Lawford that do Cruel Jewel, always supporting all the races and guts events.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great point to call them out. The Hendersons with the Pinoti Trail Series. Love their races. They do 4 a year. Sean and Sarah with dumbass events.
Really? Are we allowed to curse on this?
I think it counts because it's an acronym, right? We're gonna let that one go, right?
Yeah. We'll get them in post.
Right. Maybe they can bleep it out. But yeah, to see them here, and then of course Guts with all of our local races throughout the year. It's good to just see the community feeding into the community and how it's really a synergistic kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and there's also, speaking of Guts races, there's so many coming up. I know signups are open. You have the Fat Ass, you have Red Top Rumble.
Yes.
They just had Mystery Mountain. You have Pine Mountain today. I mean, the list goes on, and it's great to see Great Southern. I know a
Yes.
favorite of yours.
Yes, that was a tough one. That one's always a challenge to navigate, right? Because you're really on your own with a couple cards that have the map, and you just go out there and see what you can do. Make sure you can find your way around Atlanta.
I'm about to say, if you want to see Atlanta on feet and get a whole tour from Kennesaw to Stone Mountain, you need to sign up for Great Southern. And also a character building experience, and you want to learn how to route find. Check that one out.
Absolutely. That one's a good one to learn how to, I use my GPS to get everywhere. And there's some moments there where you're like, well, this wants me to go one way in my car, but I'm going a different way in my feet. Let's see how to get there.
Oh my. What was like the highlight of that race for you?
Oh, the highlight of that race would probably come down to the race up Stone Mountain. I had Arabelle Higgins was chasing me. Well, first I was chasing her.
Oh wow!
And then she was chasing me. And we raced up Stone Mountain together. And I remember thinking, yeah, we could both walk this slower. We could just cruise. We could just cruise up this and then race on the down. But we had a lovely race, and I think she brought out the best in me, and hopefully I was able to do that for her.
I know, seeing some of the photos, it's wild to see people in alpha flies with trekking poles. I was like, that's ultra running in a nutshell. When you need trekking poles, but you're still wearing a carbon-plated shoe to run on the roads.
Absolutely, and maybe like a piece of bacon and an Oreo in your hand as fuel.
Priorities, I mean, you gotta have that nutrition somehow if you're gonna go about 100K. Isn't it around 100K distance?
It is. You're absolutely right. Yes. So if anybody running this or seeing this is like, hey, like 40 miles is good. What's my step up from there? Or there's a nice 100K. I believe in May. I think it's either the last weekend in April. I take that back. It's April, towards the end of April.
Yes, I feel like there's so many races around that April, May. It's hard, just like, here, it's like first week of November, there's so many races. I feel like April, first week of May is a ton, first week of March. I guess you just got to get the right weather, as we know.
Yes, and that is such a challenge. I know even today, right, you can have this race be super cold or super hot. It can be everything in between. It can be a little rainy as it was this morning. It can be dry. The leaves are pretty much an assured every year.
I mean, you got to have some kind of element of adventure on this, and why not? I don't know if you'll be able to see a lot of leaf peeping, but you'll be peeping on them on your toes, so it will be interesting to see the rocks and the roots, but
Absolutely.
I know. I know we have a lot of coverage already from the 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. start, so I know that will be coming up along with a lot of other fun features of the live stream. I know we have a great crew working behind the scenes to give us up-to-date updated stats and video content as we are learning from this beginning live stream.
Absolutely.
When did you get asked to be a part of it?
Oh, so that's a great question. So I got put onto an aid station where I'd helped last year. I believe it's Buzzard's Roost, which is kind of a quasi aid station. As runners leave the general field where they start, they enter kind of a chute, and after about 2 to 3 miles, I believe, there's a road crossing. Can get a little dicey. Not all drivers are expecting runners, right? So there's some water there and hopefully some people directing, stopping, making sure everybody stays safe. So I was put on there, and then I got a nice phone call the other day from our RD Nick Schuster, and he was like, "Hey, I put you at the wrong spot on the spreadsheet. I want to have you on this thing." Like, all right. Well, I used to be a lawyer, and now I'm a counselor. So I've made a career talking to people, and now I make a career listening to people. So I figure this should work out, right?
No big deal. And also working at Big Peach, I'm sure you're listening to lots of people and telling them and talking about running. So why not do a broadcast all about running?
Exactly. And I think you know what that's like too. You've worked at Big Peach, I believe.
Yes, I have worked at all the stores, and I love everything about them. The atmosphere, and where you're just wanting people to have that active pedestrian lifestyle. So it's fun to see people come in the store, not really know what they want. They're just like, "I'm not a runner." It's like, well, are you on your feet?
Right.
So it's good to see them leave the store happy, excited to, wear their new pair of shoes. It doesn't matter if they are kids or adults. They're all like, "Can we just wear the shoes out of the store?"
Yes, I think there's nothing better than that like new shoe feel, right? And the new shoe smell.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
I even saw some people buying shoes the day before the race, so they might have left their shoes. So we had Big Peach on Wheels out here
Yes.
talking about it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and I think there's no real better race to test a trail shoe because you're going to get rocks and roots. You're going to get some smooth parts of the trail. You're going to get some beautiful views, but you also get some mud out there, and you also get leaves and the potential for turning an ankle. So this is really a great course and good weather to test whether a trail shoe has the traction and the grip that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what better way to test it? And I feel like that's East Coast running for you, especially in the trails where if you're not used to rocks, roots, leaves, you need to come out to the East and see what it's all about in the South too.
Yes. What's the saying? They call the West Coast the best coast, but the East Coast is the beast coast.
I mean, I won't argue with that.
Yeah. And I'm always down for a challenge. So I'm going to say sign me up for the beast.
Right, and I will say with the heat, humidity, and hills, that's what, the South's all about, and I feel like it makes the best runners.
It does,
Not that
right?
I'm biased.
Well, given your latest performance at Tunnel Hill, I think we can say it makes the best runners.
Oh my gosh, yes, training at the river, training on those miles after miles, I felt like I could represent. It didn't matter where people were from. I was proud to be from the South and say we can run with any elite and just show them how it's done.
I love that. You don't have to be from the West to be a good runner anymore.
I feel like we have a lot of East Coast pride, and it's nice to see people coming from all over to race in the South.
Absolutely. And I think You said Corey, who's here today, he's from Tennessee, I think?
Yeah, he was
Fantastic.
in Illinois and then moved to Chattanooga and has loved it. He loves the rocks, the roots, the technicality. And I think that's what attracted him to do this race. And I feel like right now is a true testament to seeing him shine in this kind of terrain.
Absolutely. So when it comes to terrain, let's talk about that for a second. What types of terrain do you like best?
I mean, if you saw my knees, you would see that I fall a lot. So I feel like I have such a high cadence. It's very difficult, and especially because, as you know, and as people can see on the live stream, I like to talk. And I like to talk about running. I like to talk about anything. So I feel like you really need to focus and having a shoe with a good grip and where you feel comfortable and you're not afraid to fall. But also watching your steps in front of you, which I don't do a lot, which maybe is a reason why I fall and not paying attention.
You're probably very focused on where you're going, though. Maybe where you are is less important than where you're going.
I think I'm more focused on the conversation or the hot takes, which is usually what I'm talking about.
Yes. And I usually focus on the snacks. And I'm usually going, wow, this is pretty. Wow, this is pretty. Oh, dang. Okay, make sure I don't fall.
Oh yeah, the gravity checks. And it's funny because it's like I went all year without a fall. It was I was very
That's
proud.
a big year.
And then the morning I was running in Seattle and it was just on the sidewalk. I totally like face planted. And then I had to go to a meeting and kind of explain to people like, it's okay. I'm not 5. I just have like no hand-eye coordination and I just fall.
That does happen, right? You don't fall on the trail and then you get to a road and it takes you out. Now, I do think we have our on stream, on course coordinator. We've got Josh Nunez, who's got an update for where runners are right now. So we're going to bring Josh in right now. What's going on, Josh?
Well, I just wanted to give you guys some updates on the race there while you were talking. You already mentioned how Corey's kind of leading the pack there, maintaining his good 15-minute lead. But the race for seconds heating up between Conrad and Everett. They keep coming in together. They seem to be swapping places, and they're keeping Corey, in reach there at that 15-minute mark.
Fantastic. So it sounds like nobody has really locked down a solid second or third. Those are still kind of in flux.
That is true. And you mentioned the women's before. The top 3 women runners are all within 4 minutes of each other.
Wonderful.
And so that's let's see who that's. We talked about Holly. It's Holly, Joanna Bunker, and Maria Fernandez are all in that top 3. So we'll see how they progress through the rest of the day.
That's awesome. So we've got some strong runners out there. And we know that even with a lead, Corey's a strong runner. I don't doubt that he can pull this off. But the beauty of trail running is that there's really no assured until you cross that finish line.
I'm about to say, you never know. It could be like a track race and a little sit and kick,
Yes.
They see that finish line right there and they're like, all right, let's go. They want the prize. They want that podium. They want that trophy. They want to say bragging rights for next year,
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you've won a race or hit that podium, you're like, hey, that's my race. And you have some ownership over it. And you're kind of not that you own the race, but you're kind of like, yeah, that holds a good place in my heart now.
And also for the ultra sign-up scores, let's be honest.
Of course, right? That's one of those things that I still haven't figured out where you can run a race like Cruel Jewel, right? Mm-hmm. And you could have a pretty decent time, run a 28-hour Cruel Jewel 100, pretty decent, but ultra sign up will be like, hey, this is kind of a slowish, maybe we'll rank you a little lower. I'm like, oh, there's just no consistency.
Oh, no, not at all. I would love to know the algorithms behind the percentage and also the predictive timing. I know doing Strolling Gym this year, going sub 5 hours. And then this year I was like, all right, they'll put me down as sub 5 again.
Sure.
No, they had me at 8 hours. I was just like,
really?
What is going on? I was talking to Ben and I was just like, did I do something wrong? Did I think I got slower? Like, I thought I did well. I did well. Don't they see me on the leaderboard? Like, I promise I will do better. So it was actually motivating to be like, all right, I got to do it again so that if I sign up again, they better respect the name. No, just kidding.
Yes, yes. No, they do. They need to know who Allison Mercer is. We all do. That is true, though. I do find it intensely motivating when Ultra Sign Up will be like, hey, we think you can do this race in like, this time plus a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Ultra Sign Up. I'm going to go prove you wrong.
Yes.
I would love for them to underestimate me.
Maybe it's like a little cushion, it's just the maybe the ultra tax of like, you never know what's going to happen. You get distracted by an aid station or maybe you get a little lost.
Yes. Now, has that ever happened to you, Allison, getting lost during a race?
So, fun fact, I actually got lost during a 5K.
Oh, no.
So, yes, everyone's like, oh, it must have been like when we did Georgia Loop or Georgia AT, which we did not. But, well, kind of we did. That's another story. But I was doing a local 5K, and it was like an afternoon race over in the South Beltline, south of Atlanta. And I was just following course markers. Well, apparently these kids flipped the sign.
Oh, no.
And so I went the direction of the sign.
course.
And then, a couple people did. And we went so far down. And then all of a sudden, the volunteers on the course realized it. And were just like, you need to turn around. And so I had the lead. And then it was just like, we were so far. And it was July. And it was like 90. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to end. Yeah. So we got lost. And then I ended up going around and finishing on the opposite side of the finish line. And the RD looks at me and was like, the finish line is this way. Why are you going that way? And so I got a DNF.
Oh,
I mean, I did finish. I just finished the wrong way.
And probably with some extra credit miles there, too.
Yes. So I was just like, but she laughed about it. And I was just like, that's racing. But, when Ben and I did Georgia AT, we were getting right by the Benton Mackay. And the problem is, both of them have white blazes.
Yes, the AT and the Benton Mackay Trail. Yes.
So we got so lost. Oh, we got people on the live stream.
Wonderful.
So we literally had to go, all right, which blaze is what? And that was around 9, so it was dark, and we're both so tired. It's like the last 5 miles, and we're just like, all right, just follow the big white blaze. It's not the small. So we made it through, but it was a true test of our relationship of just the directions, because I feel like we only get mad or argue when it comes to directions.
Now, when you say Ben, that is your significant other, correct?
Yes, it is my husband who has the fastest known time for Georgia Loop, which is absolutely incredible, and a lot of other races. So I just try to keep up with him.
And you guys share the FKT, the fastest known time for joint crew on the Georgia Loop too, right?
So he supported me. He has his, I have mine. And then we did Georgia AT together. We did Bartram Trail together. And then Jake Mountain. So a lot of the local Georgia trails. We, during COVID, during 2020, 2021, we're like, what are some trails we can do? What are some adventures we can do? And so it was a fun experience and seeing that. And we actually met because his friends were bragging about him doing Georgia Loop. So, I heard about this Ben Mercer guy. I was like, I'll see what he's about. And then all of a sudden he started following me on Strava and Instagram. And I sent him a message because he was actually getting ready to do the same trail race I was.
Fantastic. So what I'm hearing you say is like a race might give you swag or a buckle or some bragging rights, but an FKT might get you a partner.
I mean, FKT.com is like the new Match.com, I guess you could say. Or Strava's the new dating app.
Right. Right. Yeah, we got to see, can we run together? Do we jive on the same trails?
Yeah.
That's an important consideration.
I mean, a good pickup line is your pace or mine. I mean, I don't know.
Right. And I think there's some good parts there of like learning how to roll with the punches and conflict resolve and manage directions.
Isn't that ultra running for you?
Oh, it is. And life, right?
And then just having that like balance of like, all right, I know what to expect, and kind of managing expectations and having a plan and just sticking to it, but also just like you say, rolling with the punches. If your plan isn't going according, you kind of got to be flexible.
Absolutely. Now, tell me a little bit more about FKTs for anybody of our listeners watching, or runners if they watch this afterwards. We kind of know what racing is sometimes, but FKTs are kind of a different ballpark, right?
Oh, yeah. So, and I guess I'm biased when it comes to fastest known times because I am the community partner also of fastest known time. And I am the person that answers any questions when it comes to fastest known times.
Perfect.
Basically, fastest known time is a website. It's kind of like the Wikipedia or a Guinness Book of World Records, but it's just trails from the AT, PCT, all over the world. We just got a bunch from Greece, Cyprus, Qatar, Thailand, you name it. And it's just great to see people just getting after it. And it's not a race per se. You're racing against a leaderboard, basically, of what the fastest known time is. And, a lot of people think it's like Strava, but these are more of your iconic races, not your lap around your neighborhood. While it's impressive if you can, run that, half-mile loop around your neighborhood, I don't know if everyone's going to repeat it. But to have a fastest known time, be a part of the website, the community, is wonderful. And I've really enjoyed it. I answer all the questions that people submit, or also do the social media and the podcast.
That's awesome. So what I hear you saying is where I might compete with some local runners on their one little segment of they got that a little faster. They ran that a little bit a couple more times. FKT is a well-known trail, Pacific Coast Trail, Arizona, Appalachian, things like that people are likely to recognize or travel to or kind of just know what it's about.
Oh, for sure. And, there are a lot of state parks. Some people have run every trail. Also, the Paul Revere trail, doing legit Paul Revere's ride in Massachusetts, which is absolutely incredible. It's just an experience. We had someone doing a lot of, just wanted to represent the boundary waters and just doing it more for a sustainability purpose and having a true meaning behind why they're doing it. So it's really cool to see people, doing trails that are meaningful to them. They're not just trying to put up a time on an easy trail. They're saying, hey, this is meaningful to me. Here's why. The reports we get, people talk about how they wanted to do a trail because it was their first date, which, is dear to my heart, but also, or they do it that their dad or their mom took them on this trail when they were younger. It's so cool to hear the stories behind the FKT.
I love it. So it's why the trail is meaningful to us more than why a time or number matters.
Yeah, and also right now, given it's December, we're getting ready for FKT of the Year. So we just got all the nominations in, and it's going to be so tough to choose who has FKT of the Year.
How do you choose something like that?
It's a lot of math. No,
Sign me out for the math.
Trail math, road math, girl math, boy math. I mean, it's
math
all.
When you're at mile 98 of the race, I'm like, it's gonna take me 2 minutes or 20 hours to go 2 miles. I don't know how, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, no, we have what we do is we get the community because yes, we have a database of all the FKTs from the year, but to really choose the best of the best, we want the community to help us select it. So I had a call to action where everyone submits who they think is FKT of the year. Based on that, we narrow it down, and all of the FKT regional editors, the ones that are going through each FKT to verify, make sure that people did it in the time that they say they did it in.
Fair.
And a couple other members of the outside who owns FKT will vote on who they think is best. And we love having the regional editors because, once again, I may not know everything about what trails are going on in Southeast Asia or, Europe, but our editors do. And so they can give their feedback editorials to really explain why this should be FKT of the year and not just like the local US based ones.
Absolutely. Now, if somebody did want to get into doing FKTs, I know there's about like 3 different styles, I believe supported, self-supported, and unsupported. Would you offer any guidance on how people would pick or even differentiate between those styles?
I mean, it's wild to see what people do and you know, what style works for them. I mean, we had someone, Heather Anderson, do the unsupported of the state of Washington, the PCT, and it's over 300 miles. We had someone do the whole Arizona Trail, which is, I think, 800 miles unsupported. So it's interesting to see the gamut of what people do, but the differences is between unsupported, self-supported, and supported is unsupported, you have no help. What you start and end with, you carry on yourself. You do not get any outside support. You have no caches. You can't pick up stuff along the way, just water. So people are carrying 30, 40-pound packs to do these multi-day efforts. Self-supported, you don't have a crew per se, but if you go to a store or you go to a shelter to rest, you can get everything, but it has to be yourself. A lot of people will choose that style for a long trail because they can go to a hostel, they can go to a store and pick it up. And supported, anything goes. Someone can carry your pack, you can meet a crew, you can get support any way you want. As long as you are actually doing it. You have to walk every step. Or if some people bike to trails, if they're doing a multi-peak bagging, but it has to be self-powered.
So they can pick up your pack, but they can't pick you up.
I mean, yes, that would be a little outside the rules. So
That seems fair.
And everything has to be self-powered on your feet. A lot of people ask, hey, can I get my dog? As long as it's not cane cross where they're literally dragging you. And also some people do multi-sport where they're biking from peak to peak, which is allowed, or swimming. Like we have all different routes, but it has to be a majority of running. I wish we could do cycling, but it's just a lot.
Absolutely. And maybe that could be like its own thing or combined, and I'm sure that could evolve as things go on.
For sure, with the resources and everything, because FKT is primarily volunteer based. So it's what we say, a labor of love, especially when it comes to a lot of questions or whatever. But, you know, we're here for people to just, you know, have a goal, reach it, and enjoy the outdoors.
Absolutely. And I know that's similar to Guts, the organization putting on this race and over all the races as we were talking earlier. It's a 501c3. It is volunteer-based and designed to really bring awareness, enjoyment, use to the trails, to look after them, the trails, to look after our people, and make sure we increase the awareness of this sport and the accessibility to it.
What's your favorite Guts race, would you say?
Oh, well, as the RD of Hot to Trot, I have to say Hot to Trot.
Hot to Trot, the beginning of this.
Because it's hot and hellish, and people always kind of lose a little bit of, you know, that wasn't that bad. Let's go do that again. And then it's like, oh, this is hot. But it's in the name.
What do you think about looped versus a point-to-point or an out and back, or what kind of course? What do you prefer?
Ooh, what do I prefer? I like a little bit of everything. I have done a little bit of everything, and I tend to sign up for the looped races. I have a special affinity with Merrill's Mile.
True.
I don't know why. I question it. I question my sanity. I think we all do.
Yeah.
But point to point is gorgeous and beautiful because you're always seeing something new, and you can really feel and sense that forward progress as you're running. Whereas I think with a looped course, it's more of a mental progress, right? You're like, hey, I have seen that rock before, and I'm gonna keep seeing that one rock a lot. And maybe it gets some water stains on it. Maybe it gets, oh, now the sun is coming through differently on the rock. But you got to use some more mental strategies there.
Oh, for sure. Do you feel like you get into a routine where you're just like, you know what, it's just rinse, repeat, let's just go, like, it's fine, like, I feel like when you're, on the trails at a local one like Cochrane Shoals where you're just doing the same thing, you just get used to it like it's no big deal.
I think that's fair. And I will say, I know my, when I just am training regularly, I have my running routes that I run. And if I haven't run my usual route in like 2 days, I kind of miss it. It's the same pieces of sidewalk. It's the same street crossing. It's the same cars going when it's my right of way. But it's you miss it after a time. So I think there's monotony, but I think there's also the beauty of routine and building the familiarity and excitement within that.
100%. I feel like that because I run the same route a lot and I see the same people and I learn every single person's name where,
Yes.
you see them more than your family where you're like, you know what? I need to know their name. I see them way too much not to know them. And so it's funny, like when you're running and then you're running with someone else and then all of a sudden you're waving and they're like, how do you know everyone?
Yes. And you're like, well, we pass each other, for about 5 seconds every Tuesday morning at about this time. That's my Tuesday buddy. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. I feel like for me, the Chattahoochee River is like cheers. Everyone knows your name. They're glad you came. And it's like, a race where everyone's cheering for you and everyone's pumping everyone up.
Yes. I will never forget. I had to take some time off. Was kind of recovering from a race and kind of restoring my body to what it needed to be. And then I was back to running one of my usual routes. And now I don't know these people's names, but there's a nice woman that I always pass and there's a nice man that I always pass. And we just kind of, pass and wave. And it was the greatest thing that it had been about a month. And we passed each other and he was like, it's been a while. Aww. So that acknowledgement of we do notice, we do care, and you do form that social bond with people just in a very limited but still meaningful interaction.
Oh, for sure. And I also think that's what's great about Guts itself with the Tuesday runs. Everyone has a community, a bond, or people that you meet at races. You learn who's at your pace, who lives close by to you, that you learn to run and see. And it's kind of like that bond. People are encouraging, even on Strava, you're getting those kudos. People know, or they're like, hey, I'm going to be here. Let's go to Kennesaw, or let's go to this other trail and meet up. I think it's wonderful to have that, especially when people are new to trail running and don't really know it, or maybe like I co-lead Trail Sisters, where we have that monthly run where people may be a little afraid to go on the trails. They don't want to get lost, roll an ankle, and want that sense of community that, they're doing it. It doesn't matter the pace. It's one pace, no drop. And I think that's what's wonderful, especially in this community, that you have that support. So you're not alone. You're not going to get dropped at a run where there's some group runs where I know I've gotten lost at too. Well, maybe it's just me, but
Oh, definitely the group runs. I am with you there where you're just kind of in a random, usually at a running store or something like that. It's a group run. People are like, turn on this street and then this street and then this street. And I'm like, I did not bring my compass today. I don't know where we're going.
Oh, for sure. So that's why I enjoy Trail Sisters, where, people are like, I'm going to be walking. And it's like, cool, let's walk. Like, it doesn't matter. It's everyone. We just want people to feel comfortable and encouraged to be out here. And I actually saw some people starting the 19 miler that came to one of our meetups. So it's great that they're out there on the trails, exploring, racing, and getting outside their comfort zone.
Yes. And I think that's especially important coming from someone of your high caliber, Allison, because you run faster than most people. Your record, you have the world record for the Masters 50, correct?
American record, third fastest by a master's, but it's like, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, because when I was starting trail running, I was scared. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, there's no way, but I had the support from a lot of people and the encouragement, and actually a couple people that are here today. I wouldn't be running and I wouldn't be a part of the community if it wasn't for them. So it's kind of like a paying it forward, if you will.
I completely get that. I think you may be familiar with Don Gibson, who I work with.
Big Peach.
Right. No discussion of trail running in my mind would be complete without Don Gibson, because he is, I believe now 78 years old, has run so many 100-milers, and I remember when I was getting into the trail and ultra running scene, and I remember going up and being like, do you think maybe, possibly, I could run maybe 50 miles? That sounds crazy. Do you think I could do that? And he was like, of course you can. And I think we need people who can see the power in us, who believe in us, and who have been there in that state of like, this is kind of wild, this is kind of crazy, but you can do it too.
Oh, 100%. And someone like Don that's so humble, so encouraging. And so if anyone wants to check out Big Peach Marietta and meet Don, need any encouragement or advice, I feel like he's done every race and knows everything and just has such a calm demeanor to him that it's just like, it makes you go, all right, well, if Don says I can do it.
Yes, that is literally my mantra, is like, well, Don said, so I can, yep, all right, we're going to get there. I have thought of him through many races, and actually after my first 100-miler, he bought me a belt to put my belt buckle on. So I will never forget that.
Oh my gosh, that is wonderful. Now, do you still have the belt? Like, what buckle do you have on it?
No, it changes every now and again, right? I usually just wear the buckle the Monday after. But then, if like the Guts the Guts holiday party, that Halloween is a holiday, but
True.
I think we're celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, the currently seasonal holidays. That is coming up, I believe in January. There should be a membership email, so I believe membership renewal fees are $15, and that's a fun party where we can all get together. And what I love about that is that everybody wears their buckles.
Oh, wow.
Or their belts. I know Cruel Jewel gives a belt for the 50. A lot of hundreds give the buckles, and everybody gets to share the stories of their triumphs.
Well, it makes you probably want to go out and get a buckle after seeing some of the ones. It's probably a good display or a good marketing strategy.
You're right. I think it is. My first Guts party, I had no buckles to wear, and I was like, these people are so cool. Like, I want to be a part of this. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. It does cultivate the desire to go get a couple buckles.
The peer pressure, drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes. I'm like, I don't know, the peer pressure to go to parties or stuff like that, but the peer pressure to have a party on the trail, now that peer pressure I could get down with.
Party pace,
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That makes people want to sign up for Guts and memberships.
Yes.
2024 is around the corner, which is just wild to me.
I know. I think I'm still back in like April. I think I just got stuck there, mostly because that was really good weather. I think, like you were saying, good running around that time. But it's definitely not December in my mind.
Oh no, not with this weather.
No.
It's wild. You're talking about the holidays, and I'm like, how is this Christmas weather?
Right.
Are we in Florida?
Now, I do like being somewhere where if it hits 30 degrees, we talk about it. I like being somewhere where that is a talk-aboutable weather.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I bet the people that started the 19-miler, they didn't have to deal with all the rain and everything, had the ideal conditions. So I'm sure they're like, good. I didn't have to deal with the rain, around 6 a.m. when the, 40-milers started.
Yes.
But did you see anyone at the 19-miler that stood out to you?
Yes, well, there is this young runner, John Paul Picorni. He was running track and cross country, and I believe he's in his senior year, though I forget which school. But he just ran his first ultra at Hot Trot this past year. He ran his first marathon and then went past the marathon, and I believe he snagged second place at Hot Trot. For the male 8-hour. And so I'm really excited for him to get to experience a more rugged trail and take that endurance that he's building and now put it into a technical foray.
Wow, that's incredible. For me, I look at, the leaderboard and the best times, and being Pine Mountain is one of the oldest trail races, over 40 years. You see two people with course records, Emily Ansick and Jonathan Newton. I can't wait to see what they do.
Yes.
Both are just incredible athletes.
Yes, I know they'll be zooming up and down these trails here this year. Yeah.
I mean, they float. I don't know how they do it. I want to know. It's like the meme where it's like, what I look like versus what I think I look like.
Yes.
I want to think I look like that, but I do not.
Right? I think I look like a gazelle, gliding along, and it definitely doesn't actually look like that.
It's like a baby deer instead.
Yes, the kind of stumbling. Yes.
For sure. Yeah, no, it will be interesting to see how they do.
Yes.
Courses change and everything, but I'm sure, both athletes. And do you think there's an advantage to knowing the course and knowing when to push it, when not? We talked about the sit and kick. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, Allison, is that especially with trail races and especially with longer races, right? Like a 5K, you just kind of got to go pedal to the metal. But a longer race, 19, 40 miler, you're playing in that, all right, when do I make my move? And if I make it, can I hold it? And well, I might have a better kick and I might have this. So you're playing that strategy. And then I think, of course, if you know the course as well, you know what your strengths are on a hill, on an up, on a down, and when that you can marshal that to your advantage.
But do you think there's, on the opposite side, do you think there's some advantage to really not knowing the course and kind of going in and just seeing what happens and kind of I guess you can say, with ultra running and everything, 19 is kind of short where you can kind of hit the gas the whole time. Do you think there's an advantage to that?
That's fair. And I think you raise a good point that I'm like, yeah, I also agree with that. So I guess the takeaway that I would think is that it depends on the kind of runner you are, where some people are going to benefit from, I don't know what I'm going into, so I'm going to just do me. And some people may benefit from I know every rock and turn and aid station in this, so I know what I want at these points. So I'd say it probably comes down to knowing yourself, whether or not knowing the course is worth it.
For sure, especially one that's so technical like this, and there's probably some advantages knowing where to push, because sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't know about that climb and I gassed myself, or being a little too hard on the downhill, and also getting lost. There's some advantages of that if, you misjudge a marker or something, which I know based on what Nick said in the RD pre-race meeting, you shouldn't even go longer than a football field or a couple yards without seeing a flag. So having that at a course is definitely an advantage.
It is. And I think we actually have an update coming, speaking of course and strategy. So let's bring Josh back in, and Allison, if you'll take it away.
All right, I'll slide over. What do we got?
Okay, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the women's race here.
Yes.
Got some update at TV Tower, which is just a little over halfway. And Holly is extending her lead. She has it up to 10 minutes now. She's kind of pulling away from the pack there with second and third place Joanna and Maria still sticking together around 3 minutes apart.
Now, what do you think about this, of what you've seen with the splits and everything and knowing the course? What do you think about these splits so far and the race so far?
Well, the interesting thing about this is so now that they're halfway, they're starting to loop back on the course. So they've seen all this now. And so I feel like what I'm seeing from Holly is like, she's like, I know this course. I've run it before, and now I'm on the, the home stretch. So she's starting to leg it out.
What would you do if you were if you were her going for it?
Oh, I would eat lots of Oreos at the aid station and slow way down. It's what I would do. But no, and we saw this last year from Holly too, where when she came through Rocky Point the second time, she put into another gear and took off. So, yeah, it's kind of, I guess, is what we expect from her at this course.
And then what about the others? Do you think they may, want to catch up? Are they hearing splits of how far Holly is ahead of them and really trying to hunt her down? Or do you think Holly's just running scared where she's just like, I gotta go?
No, I think Holly's confident out there from what I've seen. She's running her race and she's having a great time. And I know Maria, and I know she just loves running too. So I'm sure she's just running her race and having a great time as well. Yeah, with 3 minutes splits, they probably aren't even seeing each other at the aid stations, right?
Wow, yeah.
So they probably, unless they're getting updates from the aid station workers, they probably don't know how close they are. Now they're intermixed in there with the top 10 men.
True.
So they're seeing some of those guys out there too. That's probably giving them some running buddies for a while.
Someone, to run with, keep company, pass the time, maybe get to know.
Right.
You never know.
Never know.
How's Corey's lead in the men's race?
So there hasn't been an update since the last time. They haven't made it. I expect them any minute to be back to Rocky Point from TV Tower there.
Wow.
So yeah, we're still seeing Corey hold that 15-minute lead, and then these second and third place guys, Conrad and Everett, kind of duking it out there close together.
Yeah, they both had tremendous seasons, so it's great to see them continue to compete on a high level. Now, will we get 19-mile updates soon, or when do y'all expect to have that?
I'll go work on that right now since you asked about it. How about
Awesome.
that?
Yeah, put them on the spot. That's live for you.
That's right.
No, we appreciate all this and getting the up-to-minute update analysis and seeing what happens now that the race is truly going into form. The first 20 is just a warm-up, right? And this is when the race really begins.
Right, sure. I mean, it tells you if you have the legs and the distance for sure.
And if you go out too hard,
Right,
right?
if you went out too hard, which is a little scary looking at some of these guys on that. But even the guys that looked like they went out too hard in the first couple, they slowed down a little bit, but they're holding steady. So that's good to see.
And then will we get updates on the course record and how it competes? Because it could go on either side or either race.
Good. As we get close to the end, it's going to be really interesting to see if Corey can pull that off for sure.
We can't wait, and that's why we're here, It's
Yep.
great. Thank you so much for the coverage. It's
All right.
great.
Thank you.
And crunch all those numbers. This is why we have the real guns here, so we don't have to do the math. We have people to do it for us. So, that's great. I guess now that shows you, we were just talking about race analysis and what you do. Is it good to be in first and kind of run scared, or is it to run second and go, all right, she's not too far back. Like, let's go, let's close, let's get it.
Absolutely. I think that's a fun discussion because I think it does, again, it's going to depend, right? Like any lawyer or any counselor is always going to give you the answer, well, it depends. So I'll play right into that. I think it depends. For me, it depends on the course and like what I want out of the race too. I have had races where I have really enjoyed hunting somebody down. And I think that does lead me to, you push a little. You're like, okay, where are they? And you're kind of pushing. But there can be some anxiety there too with, once I get up to them, can I maintain this? When do I push? And if I push, can I hold it? And I think there's something fun about being chased. I think that's anxiety producing too, but like that's a fun anxiety. So I might have just answered it for myself that I think I like being chased.
Oh, for sure. And like what Josh said, with Holly, knowing the course, winning the race, kind of having that, experience where she knows what to expect, what to push. Maybe she's asking how far back second is, or, knowing the course and what to expect. Or, for someone that does 100 milers, like, what's 20 miles, knowing that she's over halfway done. She knows, like, she's got this, she can close, she knows what to expect. So it will be great to see how this race unfolds, but also having people that just love running and love that experience and kind of like, all right, I got this, let's go, we're halfway, let's really start closing down, where we used, the first 20 to just get used to it, get comfortable, and now it's like, all right, this is when hunting season begins.
Yes. And like, you don't have to wear just orange for this kind of hunting season.
Oh, for sure. And, I think that just shows, like, depends on how competitive you are. We have the front of the pack, but we also have the middle and the back that are just excited to complete this distance. We may have people, like you said, with the cross-country runner, this could be the first time they've gone over 10 miles. So, or 40 miles doing their first ultra. I think that's what's also great about Guts, is it's an experience where it's not high competitive, high stakes. It's kind of like, just complete it and cross that finish line just like everyone else. I think that's the best part about running, is not only you are running the same thing as elites. How many different sports do you get where you are doing the exact same route, course, wherever as people? They may be doing it a little faster than you, but you're still going through the same experience.
Absolutely. And I think you raise a good point that, like, even if we're running something like the Berlin Marathon or things like that, like, it might be the same course, but those elites they've started before I have, they've finished before I have, they've gone home and rested and had a shower, and like, they're on to their second meal of the day before I've even gotten anywhere near to where they were on that course, right? Whereas ultras really are beautiful, or trail races in general, where you can line up at the same start line, and if it's your day and you want to try to run and do whatever, you can really do whatever you can push your own limits, is maybe the best way.
True. I mean, I just think it, as a fan of the sport, to be a part of it, to see people, to have that shared experience, I think is something to be said about running in general. We're all going through the same things, albeit the fitness and like the levels and everything is a little different, but everyone is hitting that same rock. Everyone is going through that, depending on the race, trail, road crossing or river crossing or climb, depending if it's Cruel Jewel,
And to that point, I think that's so important, of everyone is going through the same thing. So even when we talk about competition and when do you push and when are you hunting somebody, that of course happens at the front of the pack. And we kind of assume that, right? We assume, 1 through 5, 1 through 10, that they're all kind of jockeying. But that can also happen in the 10 to 20, in the 20 to 30, in the 30 to 40. You're kind of eyeing that person, being like, okay, there's a female ahead of me. Can I catch her? Okay, there's someone behind me that just came into that aid station. I'm going to leave out of here real quick because I want to be where I can be in my own little sphere.
Now, do you ever hear about now I don't know when you're racing, if you do the aid station method where you try to be in and out really quick, the Carl Meltzer approach, where he says most of the time lost during a race is with an aid station. Do you go in with a plan in place of what you're going to do at the aid station, or do you take your time and kind of go with the buffet and kind of like, hey, I'll have a little bit more of that and I'll go here?
At what stage in the race?
Oh, true.
I used to be very, very bad at that. And even I will say I used to be, I won't quantify it in like a judgmental tone.
No math.
Right? But a lot of hours, a lot of time was spent. Mostly too because it can be a little overwhelming, right? You walk in and like you said, it's kind of a buffet. where you end up like, oh, well, this is here and this is here. Then if your friends are there too, either helping out or crewing you, I want to tell everybody every thought I've had. I'm like, I saw a leaf and I sang to the squirrel and I started like having like this philosophical discussion in my own head. I want to catch everybody up on all the, like, I have solved world hunger by the end of a trail run, right? And so
Get you to the UN right away.
Right? Yeah, 'cause right after the finish line. Anywhere else, and I'm not going to be very helpful, but right after the finish line, I got it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's true. And I think what's great about even longer distances is kind of finding that buddy, because, usually you can't pick up that pacer before. So you kind of want someone that's going to be there, especially me, and I'm sure you're the same, that's an extrovert that wants to talk to people, that wants to be around, that wants to help out, that wants to be like, all right, like, we're doing this, I'm going to be out here for a while, like, who am I going to talk to kind of pass the time?
Absolutely. And that's such a good, I keep saying that's a good point, but those are good
what can
points.
I say? I make awesome
Right? I can't help it if you're full of good points. But there can be a loneliness that comes sometimes with trail racing, because you really can't see, is somebody 2 minutes ahead of me? Is someone 20 minutes ahead of me? Where are they on this trail of switchback and trees? So it can be very lonely.
Yes.
It can also be beautifully peaceful, I think. And in that, it's really getting in tune with what you need in that moment, what you need as a racer, what you want for a specific day even. Do you want it to be a casual race where you get to hang out with people, or do you need some alone time that day?
I mean, I break to your point. Like, what is your goal going into the race, and why are you doing it? It's the cliche why. Are you doing it to a shared experience with friends? Are you doing it for peace? Are you doing it to be one with nature? Are you doing it to podium, or is it a qualifier? Are you trying to get into Western states? Like, why are you doing it? And I feel like everyone's different, and it's just cool, especially, working at Big Peach, like, what are people's goals? Why are they doing it? And not putting pressure on them to do one thing or another. If they just want to walk a mile, like, it's great to see what people's goals are and aspirations. And everyone's different, and everyone has a story.
Yes. And the why, you've said that it is cliche. I'm sorry, that dog is adorable.
I know. So many.
I got very
do it for the
distracted. We do. The dogs might be my why. The dogs might be my why. The fluffier, the better. But I think everybody does, need some sort of motivational principle, right? Because especially once you start getting into the crazier and crazier races, you will have people ask you, like, why are you doing that? Then you get the cliche and often used, what are you running from? And things
Your
like
knees
that.
hurt.
Oh, yes, it's bad for my knees, all right? And things like that can be a lot of common misconceptions, and even just people not understanding the sport and the individuality within the sport.
Oh, definitely. And the thing is, what's cool is you look behind you and you see everyone, and everyone has their running resume and they're special, but no one's like going, oh, look at me. Like, it's just what's great about Guts is, like you say, with like the Johns, that everyone has done so much experience, and ask them what their why is, and get inspiration from that, especially if you're a new runner and you don't know, or sometimes you question if you're out on a training run, like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? Like, why am I taking time out of whatever, or I could be doing this? What is drawing me to it? And just seeking that experience and just learning.
Absolutely. Now, Allison, I'm going to turn that question on you and be like, well, I would love to know your why. And I want to make sure both I and the listeners can hear this. And I do believe your mic is just a little bit kind of getting away from you. So I want to make sure that we can hear your why as you answer that for us.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think it's the tape in the back.
Ah, sure.
Hey, it's what we learned in the first live stream, right?
Exactly, right?
How to talk into a microphone.
And as ultra and trail runners, we're good at problem solving.
Obviously, and improvising. Yes. No, for me, it's just a love of the community and why I go out. I just like running. Like, I love every aspect of it. Like yesterday when we're watching the 5,000 meter track race, like for college kids, and it's like, or today we're tracking, the trail race and volunteering here, or wanting to watch CIM. Like, I just love not only being just a track nerd, stat nerd, just seeing the level of elite athletes, but also just the experience of being around such a great community. It's just wonderful. Even just when I go out on my lovely daily run where I see everyone, it's just that sense of like, hey, just waving and being a part. So I just love it, every aspect of it. And it's not, I think running can be such a selfish thing, especially when you're doing ultras and you're having someone wait on you, hand and foot, and the crew, and you have so many volunteers, the race directors putting on everything to make sure you don't get lost, and safety is paramount. So it can be in acknowledging that, but also making sure it's reciprocal, because it can be very selfish. And, people are like, oh, all you do is run. All you do is talk about running, but it's more than just something that you do. It's part of a wider community. Do you feel the same way? How do you feel?
So I might even introduce, I think that's possible, right? That running can be selfish. But I would say it almost depends on the attitude in which we approach it, right? If it's all about me and I'm so cool and look at me, and that can be very selfish. But I think what is beautiful is a lot of these races, like you're saying, we have volunteers at the aid stations today. We have volunteers all over this course coordinating safety and aid, and even making sure the course is well marked, all of that. I don't know that that's selfish so much as it is dependent. And so we can learn how to depend on other people and really actually do that in a safe environment. And that's been instrumental for me to realize, hey, people will show up for you. People will be there for you. And then to get to do that back. So it's a culture of giving and receiving in a pretty individualistic world where we can actually have more bonds, more synergy. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of trail races, in order to get into, they require, volunteer hours, which, it's a shame they have to get more people to volunteer. But I think once you volunteer for a race, you truly get to experience the importance of it and appreciation. Because, I remember, a couple weeks ago going to Crew Ben at Pinhoti and just seeing the aid stations with themes, and people have been doing it for years and they love doing it. They circle it on their calendar and they want to outdo the other aid station in the themes. And it's funny, going from aid station to aid station, I was like, who's going to have the better aid station?
Right.
And I'm like, they're probably so good that people won't want to leave. And I'm like, maybe it's defeating the point. No.
Right. We can't have it be too comfy.
But it's just so cool that people dedicate so much time to wanting to help that experience. And it's so wonderful to see that people want to do that they don't have to, but they want to. And I'm trying to think which one was, they had a studio kind of 64 aspect. They had a luau. They had, I forget what the pinnacle one was. Every single one, it was just outstanding. And I'm like, that is so creative. And maybe because I lack that creativity, I'm just like, how did they even think of that?
Yes. See, I will never forget. So I was kind of new to trail running and, was kind of getting in, was trying to be a part of the community. I saw, this was, 3 years ago, somewhere in there. And I saw that Pinhoti needed volunteers and they needed sweepers. So for people not familiar, sweeping is kind of cleaning up the race. When the race is done or the runners have come through, you're picking up the flags, any trash, course markings. You're basically putting the trail back in the condition it was and taking all the race stuff out, right? You're also kind of that safety person for if a runner is lagging behind, you're making sure someone's with them. Somebody, you can give them their space if they want space, you can be with them, but you're kind of making sure that they're not lost out there and they're taken care of. So I was trying to get into trail running in the community, and I was working pretty heavy hours, but they needed somebody during the night section. I was like, well, I work during the day, but I can sweep at night. I can do that. So I drive over to Alabama. I get into this like the middle of the woods. There's this like country Forest Service road, right? And then I'm like, okay, I think I'm supposed to be here. It was into Adams Gap, which is right around 55-ish, right? And we were going on. And then you come upon, I believe it's Claremont, that always has a taco fiesta theme.
Oh, yep.
And I am like, this is apparently mile 69, 60, no, 60-ish, somewhere in there. I believe 60s. Of a 100-mile race, I'm in the middle of the woods in Alabama, and somebody just offered me a taco at like 2 a.m. I don't know what this is, but I want to be a part of it. That started it all.
Oh, wow. Now, did you like the night running? What did you think about doing that?
I love night running. That is one of my absolute favorites. How about yourself?
Depends on the headlamp.
That is fair. I don't want anything less than like 400 lumens.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is always like the most like difficult thing. Like I can barely, run and stay upright, in the daylight, like let alone at night. But I think there's something about, facing your fears and just being like, it's okay. It's almost like calm and peaceful at night where you're just like, and if it's a full moon, it's even better where you're just like embracing it and saying, it's not that bad. Just one foot in front of the other and just, you're really focused. Maybe I'm better at night running because I'm actually focused.
Yes, that is, I agree with that feeling of peacefulness, the feeling of focus. I think you are right that it does come with some challenges and fears that just as you were saying, a lot of people will worry about falling on the trails, getting lost, things like that. A lot of that is amplified at night, right? We lack the sensory input of our eyes and light. And so it's like, hey, that noise that I just heard that I might have known was a squirrel in the daytime is now a like 10-foot bear.
100% that actually happened to us. Not where we just heard like a rustling of leaves during the Georgia AT, and I was like, it's a bear, and it was nothing. So everything is so amplified at night, and also it's something to be cautious of, when it gets, especially in the fall, when all of a sudden night will fall, it's getting darker earlier, and it gets cold.
Yes.
I think when we're running and all that, we forget about that, where it's like, now I know why they required mandatory gear and having a jacket or whatever.
Yes, that's another good point.
I mean, we should have a good point counter.
Right.
Next broadcast,
Yes.
we're going to have graphics and stats and everything.
Right, and these are all the good points that Allison made.
And have like a sound effect.
Yes, but I think too, for those who are looking to get into night running, right? So if this is somebody's first trail race or longer trail race, and they're like, yeah, but I've heard like there can be short races at night, or if you want to run longer,
Sure.
you're usually running into the night. What does that look like? And I think that good point of you gotta have a good headlamp. I really don't want anything less than 400 or really 500 lumens. And I like to, at a certain point, even also have a waist lamp. So I have 2 beams, so I get better depth perception.
Oh, it's wild. I remember seeing people coming in and having both, and it's just like so much light. And it's like, it's kind of genius because sometimes it can be on your head and you get like headaches to have it on a lower center of gravity. So you actually like see it without the shadows. So it's kind of a very genius thing to have the waist pack.
Yes, and then of course there's always those Kogala lights that look like an ATV coming at you on the trail. You're like, who is driving out here? How'd they fit that here? And those will blind you if someone's coming at you.
And they're like some of them are so big and bulky. It looks like more of the WCW like wrestling belts. You're like, all right, what heavyweight title do they have?
Right. They're just like strength training while they run.
Oh yeah. Or sometimes one person couldn't get it, so they had it like sash on it, and I was like, "Oh, is it Chewbacca?" Like they had
Yes.
kind of Star Wars look to them. I'm like, "Hey, whatever works."
I do make weird noises when I trail run, so it wouldn't be above me to make some Chewbacca noises.
Oh my gosh! If you want to be alert and people know that you're coming through, it's one way to do it.
And to scare off the bears.
I mean, isn't that true? Like, you have to make a lot of noise in order, because everyone's like, have you seen a bear or whatever?
Right.
And the only time we actually saw a bear, I was quiet. Because I know when I was running with Ben, people would be like, no, because she talks all the time. Like, bears just run away. And so we did see one time, and I was so excited. And he's like, don't talk. I'm like,
You were ready. You trained.
So
You'd
excited.
gotten ready.
and it was wonderful because everyone I know so many times people be like, be careful, there's bears coming.
Right.
We just saw a bear. And I'm like, yes. And then it's like, we don't see him. And I'm just like, and Ben's like, well, you're just talking too much. I'm like, I can't help it.
So you want to see a bear and are disappointed.
Well, it's funny because it's like you want to see the little bear, you know, a cub, and then you're like, no,
Never.
because Mama's gonna be really
Right.
close. But you know, only one time, so
Right. Well, I'm sure
I guess
we
it's
can,
probably good now that you say it that way.
I can't count the amount of snakes I've seen though,
Oh,
which is
God.
a real consideration with trail running. But I think a day like today, even though it's warmer today, it's been cooler, so I don't think the runners should see many snakes today
Or bears.
or bears. Right? They everybody should be hibernating and
You
staying
know what
in.
I see a lot is turtles. It's so funny to see
Aw.
because you never really expect it, and it's just funny. Like all of a sudden, I would see people posting pictures of turtles, and I'm like, why would there be a turtle on the trail? And then you see it, and you're just like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Yes, or the little like salamander-y kind of gecko kind of critters.
Or the psycho squirrels.
Yes, yes. The squirrels are always a snake or a bear or anything until proved otherwise, but they will just be tearing up the whole trail.
And they're just like lining across. I call them like kamikaze squirrels because
Yes.
they come out of nowhere.
Yes, and maybe they're asserting their dominance. I don't know.
I mean, it's just wild. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like it just darts up, goes up a tree, comes back down. I'm like, where do I get that kind of energy from?
Right? Yeah, if you could bottle that and sell it, I'm in.
Oh my, I mean, that maybe Squirrels Not Butter can have a separate.
Right. Right.
We're branding ideas, just different ideas coming up.
Yes. Now, I do know, I think we've got our footage loaded from the earlier race starts this morning. So I know we've kind of checked in with where people are in terms of the course right now. But what we can do now is we're going to shift to some footage about the 40-miler start. So everyone can kind of check in on that. We'll also show the 19-miler start, and then we'll be back with y'all.
How are you?
Get out there. Ready? Tucker! Here you go.
All right, that was the 40-miler start. Looked a little dark and looked a little damp in those conditions.
Hope they have good headlamps, like we talked about.
Exactly. Now, it did look like the RD put some fun lights out there to kind of hype people up. I know it can be hard at 6 a.m. to feel pretty hyped about what you're about to do. But then I think the 19-milers, I think I said they started at 8, but I believe it was actually 9. They started at 9, and we have the footage of their start as well for you.
You guys are killing my video. Come on.
Bottleneck.
This is not usable.
Sizzle reel. This is where you judge a fashion contest. This is my style. Right? I mean, it's gonna be a long afternoon with you guys, but we're gonna make it. Yeah. We start the trail down.
All right, so that was the 19-miler start. I think we saw a good example there of how races can kind of shuttle or shoot everybody into a trail and different strategies there. Allison, do you have any strategies when it comes to going from a mass start in a field and then quickly going right into the trail? What do you do there?
I mean, don't you win the race in the first 400 meters? So, you know,
Dead
you just
sprint.
go hard, go
Yes.
real hard, you know, really show that dominance. No.
Yes.
I mean, it depends on the race. And I guess that's when we talk about having experience and expecting it and knowing, all right, if I don't get ahead, I'm going to be in that conga line. So I think some races kind of funnel in and knowing what to expect and depending on what your goal is for the race. I mean, you saw some people were just letting people in. Maybe that's just Southern hospitality for you. It's just like, you first.
Right.
So, I mean, I know I, as a competitor, would just want to make sure that I'm going ahead, that I'm not going to get stuck in that because it could get frustrating, especially if you have to climb up and you're getting the rocks and the roots and, you know, it's like, or falling behind someone. And if they stop short and then you stop short and then it's just has a ripple effect. What about you?
Absolutely. So I think there's definitely some races where it's key that if you want to be competitive or even get past some of those early cuts and cutoff times, I know Pinhoti, they have some cutoffs that if you get stuck behind the Congo line there, you might struggle with those cutoffs. Here we've got some more generous cutoffs that has led to a really good finisher rate. The cutoffs plus just a good course and plus some dedicated runners who are going to get the job done. But definitely, I think going out, even if you know you're burning a match a little bit, and then you can dial in your pace rather than being beholden to somebody else's pace.
Not that we're, you know, biased or anything, but yeah, I feel like for this race, you know, you don't feel the pressure of gunning hard and making sure that you're the first out, you know, but it's also something to establish a rhythm when you're getting on the course.
Absolutely. I actually remember the year I ran it, there was a little bit of like a river would be a strong word, little creek, little stream. It was a stream, a little stream. But there were a couple little rocks and people all kind of slowed down to try to make it across the rocks with enough of their foot dry. And so everybody kind of slowed down and we had been in a very good groove of just running, and then that kind of it kind of breaks you out of your pace sometimes. So I think even having the opportunity to decide, hey, do I just want to like go through this? If you are in a position where you're more in the front, you can do that, whereas otherwise you might just be stuck where you are.
And also, I think that shows you that you shouldn't get frustrated. If you are behind, it's a lesson learned, and that eventually it will widen out and you can pass and just saying, hey, can I on your left? I mean, how many times do we love hearing that?
I love hearing it more than somebody passing and not saying it.
I had some. When we did the Ragnar relay, I would be passing people on your left and on your left, and some people were just so shocked. They're like, "Who is this
Yes.
coming up?" Especially at night. But it's always a good courtesy so people know, like, "Hey." It's a polite way to say, "Move, you know what, get out the way."
Right. I'm sure that's how you come up on people else and just move.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, it was funny because at first I was like, "Hi, excuse me." And then at the end, you're just like, "On your left, get out of the way."
Right. The mood and the niceness can fluctuate for sure. I do find it's challenging with people wearing headphones.
Oh, my God.
Because you give them a nice warning. Hey, on your left. Hey, on your left. Okay, I'm literally like right on you, and I'm not trying to scare you, but I know you're gonna jump because you can't hear me.
I just worry about the safety. Like, if they can't hear me, like, could they hear anything else? Or just being prepared. And, I'm guilty of wearing headphones and everything, but it's just like, you just get so frustrated and you're just like, come on, we're out here too.
Yes.
But, and when people wonder why headphones aren't allowed at some races, you're like, yes, because if you're shared on a single track, like, we need some communication here.
Yes. So that would be an interesting conversation, which is how do we be courteous to other racers during a race? So I think we're identifying, if you want to listen to music, have at it, right? But maybe one headphone is out, or it's low
Aftershocks.
enough, or you're listening to shocks that are open ear headphones and bone conduction, so that you can hear the music and the trail. I think another one that's one of my personal pet peeves is when somebody is just playing their music into the wind. And maybe it's good music, maybe it's not good music, but I signed up to hear the leaves and the trees and the bear or squirrel sounds, right? I didn't necessarily sign up to hear somebody else's music.
Yeah, I never understand that when people just have their Bluetooth out on a hike and you're just like, love it, good you're enjoying nature and everything, but I don't need the sound effects and the soundtrack for it.
Yes.
So it's difficult because you're always just like, what are they thinking about when they're like, hey, I'm just going to be the mobile DJ?
Right. Maybe they are thinking that they're just bestowing a service.
Yeah. Do you think they offer requests and you're just like, hey,
Right.
here's a request, turn it down?
Right. Now I think too that's one of the, if we continue the conversation of considerate and how to be a considerate racer while trail racing, that is one of the things that I think calls trail running out uniquely, which would be that there is more attention to your fellow man, fellow woman out there on the trail. Where road races, if somebody, slips, falls, makes a wrong turn, however at it, it's like, hey, that's on you. Have fun, you doing you. Hopefully somebody's got you. But I think maybe because of the more wilderness aspect of trail running, if somebody falls, I have never been in a race where not like one or multiple people say, hey, are you okay? Or if somebody's throwing up on the side of the trail, hey, do you need anything? I've been the person asking that, and I've been the person asked that. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's something, like you say, you have some people that are competitive, but people that are out there and also have been through that experience and understand, and they don't want anyone, especially depending on the trail race, can be very remote. And so can they get access to help? Is someone reporting that? And that's why you have the safety runners, the sweepers, to ensure the safety of all the runners. And also a lot of aid station people have that safety training, CPR, any kind of first responder to make sure that people are safe, that, especially as you get late in a race or if you twist an ankle, that people have a sense of safety and that they're taken care of, that if something happens, they're not just going to be abandoned in the woods,
Yes. And I think too there's a beauty in trail racing where, kind of like you were saying, how elites and non-elites can sign up and line up at the same race, right? There's also really every race, a span of experience levels. So I can remember my first half marathon, a road half marathon, where this kind lady, she was like, you maybe don't look so good. Fair. And she handed me some goo shot blocks, some fuel, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what we do at races? That was amazing, right? And I can think of races where in turn, I know I'm going to finish at a certain spot. Somebody's like, I'm all out of water. Do you know if there's an aid station? And I'm like, here's my bottle. I'm good. I can get through. Take my bottle. And now they know for next time too.
Oh, for sure. Or they pay it forward. It's nice that, they have that sense of community and just wanting to help and troubleshoot. Like you say, if it's their first race and they're feeling kind of tired or fatigued, it's like, well, when was the last time you ate? When was the last time you did this? Or if they don't know when an aid station is or expectation or what the rest of the course may look like. It's just, once again, you don't know what you don't know. And, a lot of us have learned from what not to do. I know I
Absolutely.
definitely have.
Yes.
Whether it's nutrition, gear, or just, not putting on sunscreen or proper lube,
Yes. I think we learn best from our mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's the only way you learn.
Yes. Hopefully we can learn from other people's mistakes, but usually we got to kind of internalize it, experience it, all of that.
Well, especially because I know going from road to trail, I kind of had an expectation. You think, oh, I can average this pace or I can do this, and not realizing with trail, depending on the technicality, it will definitely slow you down and humble you. And if you're not fueling properly and you don't have that expectation that it may take you longer, you go into a various different elements that where you really have to troubleshoot and make sure that you have the nutrition and, a jacket or a headlamp.
And you have to mentally troubleshoot too. Not that you're not troubleshooting mentally, but I think to your point of expectations, where if you expect like, hey, on the road I can hit a this and this minute mile, I'm gonna go run that maybe a minute slower, and then there's a hill or something and you're like, oh, I am like running double what I usually run or over double what I usually run. That can feel very defeating. That can feel very demoralizing. And so to even cultivate a community where we say like, hey, I don't really care what your splits are. I care about your splits if you care about your splits. But like, did you have fun? Did you see a cool flower? Like, what'd you learn about yourself? Like, that's where I think it really comes down to.
Oh, for sure. And just know that you kind of throw the watch out the window because let's be honest, sometimes you're out on the trail and your watch can just go bonkers,
Yes.
even in town sometimes. So it's just like, give your watch, a little credit, but it's not all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I think it's one thing when you're beginning not to even worry about pace, especially on the trails.
Yes, I remember reading a blog about trail running before I kind of got into it, right? And they were like, yeah, if it's a hill, you might walk the hill. And
Walking?
I know.
Oh,
I know. And
never.
unintentionally then in my journey to, figure out what trail running was, I ended up on some pretty gnarly technical trails. I ended up on the power line at Fort Mountain. And I was like, okay, this is apparently what trail runners do, but like, oh my gosh, I'm really glad somebody told me I can walk this because I don't know how anybody is running that.
Oh my gosh, the power lines is one of the most character building parts. And I know sometimes I know Mystery Mountain doesn't go around it, but if you want a little bonus time around, Fort Mountain and you really like Mystery Mountain, you just do the power climb and see what you get.
Yes, and do some repeats there and have a day of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'll pass. I'll just stick by the lake and do the loop around there instead.
Yes.
How about that?
Right?
Compromise.
Now, I don't think there's any climbs quite so daunting in this course today, but I think where this course kind of stands out to me is that it all is either up or down. I don't find that there's, not at least that I remember, there's not a lot of just chill, like, okay, you can gas it here. It's pretty either up or down and technical the whole way.
Do you like that? What do you think about that? Do you feel like it keeps you engaged where there's nothing where you can just kind of zone out and just be like, it's okay, it's flat, it's rolling, there's not a lot of rocks. Do you like that, or do you kind of just like, I want a break?
I like it because I think it takes a little more strategy. Because if there's one big climb, you can kind of be like, all right, I got to save so much energy for this climb, and then from there, you can kind of empty it out. You kind of identify your big points in the race, right? Versus this, to me, is more about identifying those points within yourself. Of, okay, for instance, I love a good down. I can bomb a good down. The more technical, the better. But an up, ooh, an up.
Yeah, and I guess with a lot of out and backs and everything, it's like what you go up, you'll go down, and what you go down, you go up. And I feel like sometimes with downhills, you don't realize you're going downhill until you have to double back and go up it.
Yes, those are the sneaky downs where you're like, I don't remember this being easy enough to merit how hard this is on the way back. Yeah,
And just making notes of it, because there are a lot on the course. And I know, like at Tunnel Hill, that was a key strategy with 2 out and backs, is like knowing, all right, this is a lot of uphill, but at least I get to go down it.
yeah.
So it was definitely, and also ways to break it up. I'm sure in longer races, you really have to break it up where it seems like it's attainable, especially if you're going on a distance PR. I'm sure if people did the 19 miler last year and are going for the 40, they're like, all right, let's break it up. Let's kind of rationalize it where it doesn't sound too crazy.
Right. I think a lot of this is talking about crazy things as if it's not super crazy, right?
I know. That's what's funny about ultra running, and telling people that haven't done the distance what you're doing, and they're just like, or your parents, they're like, what are you doing today? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing 50 miles. They're like, why not a marathon? Remember when marathons were the thing that you did?
Right. Honestly, marathons to me feel so much harder because it's like that 5K where you just have to go. And you take at least for me, like I love a good strategy of the longer stuff, the hundreds, the 100 plus, where you have to kind of manage yourself a little bit more rather than just gassing it.
Oh, yeah. Where it's just like, oh, we're done. Like it just makes it feel so much shorter, you know?
Yes. Now we casually run marathons as training runs, right?
Of course. And then the next day have to do it again.
Exactly.
Depending on your training.
Yeah.
And then we're like, why don't we do those 5Ks again?
Right. Because they don't give us buckles.
Oh, priorities.
Yeah,
Why,
right.
You can't go to the guts party and have, show off your latest
Exactly.
and greatest. Have a days of the week buckle,
Perfect. Yes. Okay. I got to run a couple more hundreds. I'm gonna my Monday through Sunday. There we go.
Yeah, and that way you know what day it is, I feel like once you get in the holidays, it all blends together. You're like, it's a Tuesday, what day is it? That way, instead of days of the week underwear, you have days of the week buckles.
Perfect. I love it. I'm gonna start picking races by like, oh, that race starts with a W. That's my Wednesday buckle. Got it.
I mean, priorities, especially if you're going, to a meeting or something, people know.
Right. Now, I will say sometimes I'm in the regular world, so to speak, and I'll see, I know. And I will see people wearing a buckle, right? Like, but just like you can buy normal belt buckles apparently. And so I'll be like staring at their belt buckle, like, what is that they're wearing? What's that from? And it's not from a race. And I feel almost a little betrayed. I'm like, you can't wear a belt buckle if it's not from a race. That is not true, but
It's funny. I know when Ben, my husband, got his first belt buckle and he was wearing it out. I think he wore it when I did the Chicago Marathon, and no one asked him about his belt. And he was so hurt. And I was like, Ben, know your audience.
yeah, that's why you wear it to the guts party.
100%, where people like get it and appreciate it.
Right.
Road marathons, they don't get it.
Yeah. Now, speaking of wearing things, you have, I believe, 2 yellow shirts. And I think you're the only woman who has 2 yellow shirts from Strolling Gym.
Yeah, so for Strolling Gym, they do things a little differently with the race. It's 41.2 miles. So in order to get certain shirts, you have to run under a certain time, and 5 hours is the gold shirt. I forget 6 hours, 7 hours. It's all different color shirts. And so previous to racing in 2022, only one woman had got a gold shirt. So last year, my goal was to, get the gold shirt, maybe get the course record, see what's on, because there was prize money on the line. So Ben had signed me up for that race at Valentine's Day because
Aw,
nothing says I love you like, hey, go out and do a 40-mile race.
right?
Especially when it's the first week in May and it's hot
Yes.
in the middle of rural Tennessee. So I went and trained with that, and Guts president Janice Anderson coached me, and she has a couple of the course records and is on the leaderboard. So I knew I was in good hands. And all of a sudden, the Thursday before the race, I saw Camille Herron, world record holder, had signed up. So I go, uh-oh, I have competition and my work cut out for me. But it was wonderful. And, she couldn't have been nicer and more gracious. And, she did win, but we both went under 5 hours and we both got gold shirts, which if you're going to lose, you lose to a world record holder and within a small margin. It's not too shabby of a day. And to wear that shirt and know that you're one of 3 women ever in the 40-plus year course history is absolutely incredible. And the course is very difficult in itself, where you don't have typical aid stations, you don't have mile markers and flags. It's all spray painted on the road. So if you're not paying attention, and it's not like the roads are blocked off. You have cars going, you have stray dogs, as they say.
No.
You don't know what you're going to see on that course. So you really have to navigate it and know. And, this year, I signed up again going, I want to finally get that win. I want to, solidify it. And followed similar training and, just went in. It was about 20 degrees warmer. Last year, it was so nice. I mean, the high might have been 50 and it was overcast. It was kind of like how this weather is now, where if you're running with the sun covered, it is perfect, especially with the last 10 miles being fully exposed, where you feel that heat. It's,
I bet.
you're already in that last window, the last 10 miles of a 40 of an ultra. It's already hot, you're already exhausted, and then you add the heat, it could end your race. So, but this year it was all about managing the heat, knowing what to expect, knowing the hills, knowing the course, and just, finishing strong. So I finished and saw that it was 4:57. I got the second gold shirt, which is incredible because the race director told me afterward, he's like, you're the only woman to finish sub 5 hours all time. It doesn't matter that it was back to back, just in that history to have, there's 4 gold shirts given out to women and I have 2 of them, which was incredible.
Yes. That sounds like that is an accomplishment that you're very proud of.
Oh, for sure. I mean, once again, to run an ultra and to run at a certain speed, I never thought was possible. But once again, having the community, having the right people backing you, such as a good coach, a great husband, a great crew, where him and his family crewed. And if I didn't have them tossing the bottles out and keeping me hydrated and as happy as a runner could be when they're doing, 40 plus miles on the road, it was wonderful.
Good.
I can say that now.
Right.
Depending on the point.
Yes.
Do we have runners coming in?
We might. We have some cheers happening. We have
runners? Uh-oh.
We could have a...
Haven't got any boots.
Oh. See, this
Well,
is what happens
let's
when we're
see.
live.
Yeah, the good news is our finish line.
We have
right here.
the Hoka tent behind us. You may not see in the
Yeah.
shot, but we have someone running, so we could have our first finisher. And your guess is as good as ours.
Now that could make sense if the 19 milers started around 9, that'd be just shy of 3 hours. That would be possible. Yeah.
Do we have a 19er coming? Do we have a name?
Sounds like we do have it confirmed.
We have our first
yes.
finisher.
Wonderful.
Oh, Brian Charno.
Wow. That was a solid performance.
And it's a short race for him. He had just finished Javelina, where I believe he was in the top 15
Oh,
from
fantastic.
Florida. So he's used to the humidity. So I'm sure this was him in his element. And doing
Yes.
such a short distance, he's like, this
Right.
is shorter than my long run.
Right, he's just warmed up now.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes.
Do you want to come on the live stream?
Yeah.
Come join us, Brian. We were just talking about how this was a short race for you.
Yeah, this is a
Come
one I
sit.
love doing every year.
Yeah. So how did it feel? How was the course? How were the conditions?
It was actually better than I thought it was going to be. With the rain, it kind of packed down some of the leaves, so it actually made the footing slightly better than I was thinking it was going to be.
Now, how many times have
Wonderful.
you done the race?
This is my 4th year, so I've done the 46. This is the 3rd time doing the 19.
So we were talking about it before. Do you think it was an advantage to know the course?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely helps.
And
Wonderful.
how are you feeling after Javelina and having a great finish after that? How does this compare?
It's completely different. Javelina's a lot more runnable. This is a lot of rocks that you can't see with all the leaves. There's no leaves in the desert, so
Yeah.
slightly different. But this is one race I love doing. It's kind of a family weekend we make out of it. So we go to Callaway and do the lights and finish it up with a run.
That's fantastic. So what does ultra and trail running mean to you?
It's just something I've loved I've been doing this since I was in high school. I ran high school cross country and college cross country, and then ran marathons. And then 2018, I ran Pinhoti was my first ultra. First 100 mile.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and then been hooked on the trails ever since then. And it's just something I love being out in the woods.
Yeah. And what do you have coming up next for 2024? You've already had quite a
Yeah.
2023.
2023 was pretty good. I'll be going to Black Canyon 100K in February, so
Fantastic.
we'll see how the golden ticket stuff pans out. But
Absolutely.
that's a tough day, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So I take it the Western States Lottery did not
It
go
did
anywhere.
not work out. I had 16 tickets and was hoping that something would pan out, but no.
Well, we hope you do well at Black Canyons. We hope this was a great training run and prep for
Perfect.
it.
Yeah, it
and-
was kind of get the legs back moving after Javelina, so took 10
And you're-
days off and then got back at it and just in time to feel okay to run today.
That's
That's
awesome.
wonderful. Any recommendations you would give to people who aspire to get faster or go farther?
Really just consistency. Just stay with it, run its course, be smart. Try to keep your easy days easy. It's one of the biggest things is, I run hard pretty much 2 days a week and every other day is pretty much easy runs. So workout and a long run is hard days and then everything else is pretty easy. So
Now, how did you fuel
Fantastic.
for this race? Was it different than, because it's not 100 miles where you're having to
Yeah,
prep for the
it's-
whole day?
the more and more the research comes out, it's just important to fuel. So I've been using precision nutrition, and it's been great. I used that for Javelina. I used that today, and got in 90 grams of carbs an hour, and just try to be consistent with that. About 350 calories an hour, and then also try to get in electrolytes and salt. So
Awesome.
precision's been amazing since I found that. So that's what I use.
Any low points during the race or anything?
A couple times I kicked a few rocks and you get a little frustrated and mad. And then I would be like, okay, let's slow down. But most of the day it was like, this is 19 miles. I need to push and run hard. I can't. A lot of the races have been like, be patient. And then I find myself in this window of being patient. I'm like, no, this is short. You need to run fast. So
And what shoes were you wearing for?
the Hoka Mafate Speed 4.
And how was that for this course?
Great. Yeah, I didn't have any issues. The traction on them was great. I was thinking I was going to either wear these or the Speed Goats, and decided to go with these. And I think that was a better choice. They have a little more lugs on them, so it gripped everything pretty well.
Awesome. Is that what you wore for Javelina or?
No, I actually wore the Hoka Mach X, a road shoe.
Oh,
It
nice.
worked out perfectly. It was a last minute decision, but went with those, and I love them. So
Good. Awesome. Well, we appreciate it as Hoka as a sponsor that you're supporting the cause.
yes, I love Hoka. They're one of my favorite shoes. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for giving
Yeah,
us your
thanks for
insight
letting
and
us interview
congratulations.
you.
on the win.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Fantastic. Congrats on your win.
Thank you very much.
The joys of a live stream. We get to interview the winners and see them finish when you do.
Sorry.
I said we get to finish and talk
Yes.
to the athletes and see their experience.
Absolutely, yes, and hear some very good insight on how I think there's can be a misconception out there of like oh, you just fuel if it's 100, you fuel if it's a 50, you fuel if it's a 40, but our bodies are always in need of energy, and when we're demanding things of them, we need to make sure that we're adding fuel to the tank.
Definitely. And it doesn't matter if you're doing 19 or 100, the importance of getting the calories in and also the electrolytes, no matter if it's the desert or the forest. So it was cool to hear him having those experiences so close together, but having a similar strategy.
Absolutely. Now, I will be curious. We'll see if we can get an update for y'all if anybody's even close nearby. How much the race was run away with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see a few more come close and start finishing. It would be great to see some finishers come through, and we have the first experience right, front and center of those finishers.
Yeah. Now, it is kind of tricky, too, in this moment where, okay, we know we have some of the 40 milers on the back, like they're more than halfway now at this point, and the 19s are finishing. We do hear another cheer, so it sounds like somebody else is coming through. I'll be curious to see who that is, but that was not a long amount of time.
No, it shows you how close the race was.
Oh, looks
yeah,
like it's Jonathan Newton.
The course record holder, and I know he's done both races and is very familiar with the course. So I guess we see that experience does pay off for this race.
Absolutely. And Jonathan is, as we were talking about race directors, he race directs what used to be called Summit Pro Racing. I believe it's rebranded into Summit Run Co. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool new logo, cool rebrand, very, very good races and good community again. So he'll be coming through and just showing what Summit Run Co. can do.
And he's a Hoka Flyer ambassador, so he is a big fan of Hoka. And I don't know which Hokas he was wearing. I guess we will see shortly.
We'll find
out. So
out.
we noticed a theme there, too. There he goes. Here he comes. Woo! Nice job. And you notice they look so great. Like they just came out from a Sunday stroll.
Yeah.
Just make it look easy.
They look like they finished a 5K. Mm-hmm. Ah, it's wonderful.
And it looks like he's wearing the Mafate speeds as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, absolute incredible performance by him. And it's great to see runners already coming through.
Yeah, I'm not surprised given those two, not at all.
In ideal conditions, too. Like you say, if the leaves are in your favor and the rocks aren't too bad, you can fly.
Absolutely. And we know Hoka's logo is time to fly. So
yeah.
these guys are helping them live into that.
Fly, human fly, right?
Yes, I said the old logo, didn't I? The
Hey, it's all good.
fly, human, fly. And they did in fact fly today.
These are some flying humans. And, I know we should get some of the 40 milers shortly. I know Corey was on a
Yes.
pace closely with, the course record around 6 hours. I know that's what he was gunning for. So we will see, hopefully, him shortly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jonathan, you want to be on the live stream? Come on. Okay, he'll get a shirt on, you know. I guess it got real hot, so we'll keep it, you know, for the kids.
Right, right. We got to make sure this is approved. I think we already swore on it, but we got to make sure it's good.
I mean, as we learn on the fly, we're
Right.
getting used to this. But you also see the race director, Nick Schuster, who has
Yes.
put so much blood, sweat, and tears into making this race possible. And, you know, without people like him, like Janice, Sally, all of them that make this race that are behind the scenes or behind us.
Yes, and for those of you that don't know, Janice Anderson, the president of Guts, and Sally Brooking, they are both doing the timing for today. So very vital part of the race. Not to mention, I think they've helped with packet pickup, the setup. I'm sure they helped with other things that I don't even know the half of.
Probably marking, you name it. You know, it's those utility infielders that make it possible that we don't always see, like we talked about with volunteers. It's incredible the work that goes on. It doesn't, the finish line doesn't magically appear, and we don't magically appear on a broadcast, and you know, the runners aren't magically escorted across. It takes a lot to make these possible, and it's wonderful to see from all these people.
Absolutely, and even seeing our finishers at the finish line right now, I see the family coming around. The first place winner from earlier, that happened earlier. Now he's talking with the race directors, but looks like Jonathan is with his lovely wife. Like, everybody has a very supportive family too, and what an impact that must have for them.
Oh, definitely. And this race being so close to Callaway Gardens, and there's so many things to do. I think that's what's great about doing a race and planning a race, is making it family friendly and having the Gardens of Light around the corner. It's such a fun experience. And also a lot of the local restaurants coming in and catering.
Yes, yeah. I think did I hear right that we're having barbecue today?
I believe there was some vegan hot dogs and chili and quesadillas. So it's something
Fantastic.
where you appeal to a wide variety
Of diets and preferences. Absolutely, yes. Now I'll be interested if Jonathan's race strategy was anything like the first place race strategy. If they both had to get fast out of the gate, I'll be interested to hear how.
And
they
if
did
they
it.
knew they were so close together.
Right, I wouldn't be surprised. I would think that they would know.
Yeah, I guess Jonathan just doesn't want to talk to us, you know.
Right, hey, or maybe wants to stop.
There he is. Come on down.
Oh, that's a mighty step after running 19.
Yeah, you asked for a lot here.
We're gonna give you this. I think I turned it on. Yeah. How did the race go, Jonathan?
Well, I was telling these guys, I think I've officially run this in every weather possible, from freezing cold to pouring rain to a little bit of heat and humidity in mid-December. So
Yeah. What's your favorite race condition?
I prefer it to be cold. Much colder.
Yes.
This is rough. I lost my shirt about 2 miles in, handed it off to Cassie, threw it at her. I was like, I can't wear this. I can't have any.
Yeah.
So it was sweaty. I think I had to take some of my gels and stuff early just to stay on top of electrolytes, because I was losing a bit more.
When you say lost your shirt, I was like, wait, how do you lose a shirt? It just magically came off?
Yeah, I just all of a sudden it was like, shh, could you get this off of me?
Yes.
Last year I did almost lose my shirt because the briars kept grabbing it until I ripped the sleeve straight off.
Oh yeah.
And
Is that why you went with the tank top?
Well, I think on the 19 you don't go through as many of the briar patches as you have on the when you get out towards the fire tower on Molly Hugger. Some less like traffic trails out there.
Okay, so I hear a slightly maybe more groomed course for the 19, but
Yes,
still
yes,
very
yes.
technical.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it's been before. Like I think the rain helps sort of mat the leaves down, and I think we had an earlier cold snap, so the leaves probably fell earlier and they've composted more. So a lot of the trail wasn't as treacherous. You know, I've done it before when it's almost a foot high piled up and you just don't know
Yes.
what's under it. This time it was a lot easier to get your footing. Still slick, but otherwise,
How many times have you done this race?
this would be 5, I believe.
Wow.
Alternated. So I've done the longer distance twice, the shorter distance, I think 3 or 4 times now. I'd have to check.
Fantastic. What keeps drawing you back to this race?
I love this trail. Yeah. It's runnable, it's technical, it's not going to kill you with any climbs. So I think it's a pretty approachable for most people. You don't have to train for a ton of vert.
Yeah.
If you're a good runner, if you're good on the technical stuff, it's a lot of fun up there. Yeah.
And what shoes were you wearing?
The Hoka Mafate.
Yeah. So
I will say our winner here, Brian, was also wearing the Hoka Mafate.
I was like, did you all plan that accordingly?
We did. Yeah, we
Oh,
wanted.
do we have? Oh, we have third place coming up.
All right.
Yep, Sam.
Sam.
Nice. Now,
Wonderful.
did you realize you guys were all so close together? Did you know who was up, who was down, and who was behind?
Today, yeah. Brian and I were kind of together for a couple miles early on. He was climbing a little bit better than I was, and started to pull away.
Hmm.
So I don't think he. They kept telling me he was only a few minutes ahead, and I'm like, he's farther than. 3 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
That
On a
adds
shorter
up.
course, so yeah.
Yeah.
And
He
so,
ran really well. He's experienced out here as well, so it's knowing that he knows the course well. He's a strong runner. Like it'd be tough to catch him.
and what do you have coming up next? What do you have? We were talking about your coaching business and everything.
And racing business.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to a little bit of downtime. Hopefully, I'll make it off for Trey Day.
Yes. Priorities.
Yeah. Looks like we have another William coming in.
Well,
Keep talking.
you can go. Yeah. Yeah. We'll just. What do you have coming up? And then.
So for winter, I'll transition into like a marathon training block. So going for another marathon qualifier. Work on some speed, in the off season, or at least attempt to.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Congrats on a podium finish again. I feel like it's a legend talking to with Pine Mountain, and thanks for coming.
I'll be back again soon.
Fantastic. And people, if they want to see more of Jonathan too, can check out Summit Racing Co. A lot of good winter and Summit Run Co. I'm gonna get it right. Summit Run Co. I'm gonna get it right. See, rebrand. I love it. People can check out a ton of races coming this winter and spring to keep those legs turning over.
Thanks.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go this way. I'm not climbing.
All right.
Thanks, Jonathan.
No more climbing. And yeah, we see a couple more finishers. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see some women coming up shortly.
Yes, I always love it when women get in that top 10 or even that top 3 where it's like, hey, it's not necessarily always going to be the guys.
Oh, you never know who's going to finish. And like I said, with Strolling Jim, I was second overall, and everyone was like, oh, second female. And I go,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
out of everyone.
Right.
So it's great to see more women dominating and
Yes.
crushing it. And it's great to see other people showing that it doesn't matter.
Yes, and it looks like we have some updates coming
Right.
from Josh, so we can transition to those now. What do you got for us, Josh?
Yeah, just a quick update for you guys on the 40-miler men's race there. Corey continues to hold the lead out of Molly Hugger, so that's about 10 miles out.
Yeah.
And he did that about 25 minutes ago, so he's coming in here hot.
Okay.
And Conrad is closing the gap a little bit there. He's about he gained about 5 minutes on him, so he's only about 10 minutes behind now.
Okay.
And Conrad has dropped the rest of the field. Nobody else has checked in the Molly Hugger yet. So these guys are tearing up this last half of this race for sure.
Wonderful. So we have a first and a second basically for the 40 who are closing in.
Yeah. And I'll let you guys know when we start getting some updates on the female race.
Fantastic. Thanks, Josh.
All
I
right.
appreciate you. All right. So as we wait for more finishers to come in, this is just a good time too to think about like your own personal whys and also how to combat. Allison, I was telling our listeners, hopefully our listeners, about
Everyone. We're breaking the internet right now.
Yes.
Everyone's tuning in. It's
I'm sure we're very cool. I'm sure we're trending.
I'm sure.
I
You
trend.
know,
Yeah.
we got this.
I'm very on
mean,
point.
What else are people doing on Sunday morning? Watching CIM, watching football? No.
They should be watching
They're
us.
watching
Pine
Mountain. You know, and that's the thing about live stream and what we love about this broadcast and what we've seen in, not only major marathons that are doing it, but also the Western States, the Vipa, the UTMB. It's great that we can bring that kind of coverage to trail running,
Yes.
which I kind of, when I was asked to do this, I wanted to channel our inner Cocodona. How did they do it? What did they bring? What did we want to show the audience that are taking time out of their day to watch us? I mean, obviously they want to hear us talk and hear all hot
Of
takes.
course.
But, the experience that they get to see their runner,
Ooh, we
their
have
finisher,
another
another 19 miler, Jason Dressler,
Wonderful.
crossing that finish line. Sometimes they can't make the drive out here, but they want to see their friend, family, loved one cross that finish line. What a great experience. And it's so wonderful that Guts is providing that because it gives that interactive, that shared experience that they're able to show.
Absolutely. And I think there's a real beauty too in sometimes you can have a goal in mind or be pushing for a certain place, but as long as you cross that finish line, kind of knowing that you gave it your all, and that other people can help bring that out of you too, I think that's something you can be proud of no matter what place, time, etc. that you fall in.
I mean, I'm proud of all of them. I'm rooting them on if I know them. And being such a nerd, it's like, oh, I've heard that name or I've seen it in some kind of
On the ultra sign up.
obviously. So to see them and share that experience, and I love tuning into live streams and seeing what's going on and being part of it, even if you can't actually be at the event. People are getting the experience, and hopefully we're doing a good job describing all of the experience that we're facing.
Yes, like I remember, we've got someone else coming in. We don't have a name, but they're looking good. Looking strong.
250
Wonderful.
with the headphones on.
And wearing Hokas again. Got some good Hokas. I feel like most trail races, I see a lot of Hokas. Yeah, so hopefully we will start seeing some women soon.
You want to come join us? You want to come join the live stream? Sure. You can come around. We'll get Jason on, our third place finisher. And it's great to have these people join in and get their moment to shine and hear about their race.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, fifth place.
Yeah.
Our Grandmaster
Yes.
winner, Jason.
fifth
you wanna
and
talk about the
first.
race?
Yeah, thank you.
Was this your first time doing Pine Mountain?
No, second time. Last year was my first, and it was a little bit better this time, kind of knowing the course, but still not like trained for it. So it was hard those last, and I knew it would be those last 5 or 6 miles, or once you get to the last checkpoint and coming in, it's pretty grueling, especially by yourself out there. But just had to kind of keep my mind into it.
So did you know how far the other runners were or anyone?
Yeah, because the guy that was that finished, I think he finished in front of me. Maybe he got the other guy and got third, but we were together for a while, and I could, he gapped me a little bit, maybe like 12 miles, somewhere in there. But with that out and back that you have, you can see him. So I saw him and I saw the guy right in front of him, and then I could see the guys that were right behind me. So I had a pretty good sense. I just didn't know, because I could really feel my body deteriorating. I really wasn't sure if those guys were coming on me or not.
Now, what made you come back after last?
Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty historic race, as I understand it. It's like one of the oldest, or maybe the oldest, and it's close by. It was, even though it was very difficult last time. I think it was motivating to come back. My wife's out here running too, and she's the one that always signs us up and stuff. So you have to sign up for this one pretty early. So she pretty much committed me.
Nice.
But I'm glad she did.
Obviously, and having a nice finish and a nice prize to show. Do you want to show the audience your
Sure.
your
Sorry,
your
make
medal?
you out of the way, yeah.
Yeah, your trophy.
Yeah, it's a little bit shadowed there, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then do you have any other races coming up, or did she sign you up for any other races?
No, I don't really race much anymore. I've kind of semi-retired with kids and stuff. But last year, after doing this one, we did a couple of the other guts races.
Okay.
The ones that are coming up in January and February. So we'll probably do those again. And I don't really do much road racing and stuff anymore. So these trail races are kind of a fun alternative. It's different for me. I haven't run a lot of trail races, so it's kind of like new. It keeps it fresh.
Well, you did wonderful. Thank you for joining. I'll let you go enjoy, get some good refreshments
you.
and lunch, and congratulations. Soak
Yes.
it all in.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's good to see. So we're hearing time and time again that knowledge of the course is mattering here.
Yeah, and as we see more and more people, it'll be interesting to see how they knew, and if they knew who was ahead and who was behind, and just getting that rhythm. It's great to see that people, all experiences, all ages, are enjoying this trail and this race.
Absolutely. Now, I remember when I ran this race, it can be really hard to know where other people are, just simply because you're on a trail. And I remember I was walking up a hill and thinking like, oh, I'm probably like in the back. Will they even wait for me? I don't know what's happening. And then coming upon an aid station and being told my coach and friend was just like 5 minutes in front of me. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go try to catch him.
Yeah,
we have our first female. Nope, sorry, a male. That's my bad.
Nice. Addison Huff
Wonderful.
finishing. Wow. These are such incredible times, too.
Yeah, very strong runs.
I know. They're just making it look so easy,
Right? Yeah.
Maybe we should have done it. No.
Right. Maybe next year we do the live stream as we run.
I
We
don't
could
know.
talk the whole time.
It'd be a lot of falls.
Yes, that's true. I
don't
don't know if the technology would work.
Or my knees and the safety. I'll spare my knees for that one, and maybe do some on-course reporting.
Right.
But-
Everyone might not want my stream of consciousness. It tends to be like, oh, that's a rock, that's a tree. What's that? Here's a fun song in my head that I'm gonna sing for 5 hours.
Right. Or just having like the people with the GoPros and they're
Yes.
filming. I'm like, I can barely like talk and run, let alone film, talk, run.
Right.
How do they do it?
And not fall and not break anything, myself or the technology.
It's wild. So we'll stick to just sitting in front of you guys and doing this. This is enough for us.
Yes.
Hey, you want to come join us, Addison? You want to talk about your race? Yeah, here you go.
That was so much fun. Heart goes out to this racer at 12.6, fell down, hurt his knee.
Ooh.
But my heart goes out to all the racers out there today. It was beautiful weather. I enjoyed every single second of it, and just so great, just filled with gratitude at this moment that we're all able to be here and celebrate this. It just means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Was this your first time doing it?
This was my first Pine Mountain race.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I crushed it.
Yeah. So does this mean you'll be back?
I will 100% be back.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much for hosting us. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have a fantastic spirit, beautiful outlook.
Yeah. So there we go. A first timer.
Yeah. So maybe course intel doesn't matter a ton. All right. We got Rick Clark coming through.
All right. Well. So, yeah, and hopefully we'll get some 40 milers coming up.
And Rob Ellis. We're getting a couple people coming through.
So, yeah, we'll see some more. Everyone get some crowds falling in. Oh, we got a couple more guys finishing.
Running in strong together.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, that's a beautiful
Oh,
thing.
high fiving. Yes, teamwork, making that dream work. And getting a hug from the race director. Sure, after this, Nick's going to get a lot of sweaty hugs.
Oh, yes. Now, that was a beautiful thing I saw there. I don't know if you caught that, Allison, but the gentleman in the red shirt was in front, and he kind of slowed down to both cross the finish line together. So I'm betting those two shared an experience out on the trail together.
I don't know. I just saw that they were both wearing speed goats,
Yes.
priorities.
Yes.
Oh, we got another finisher. Nice. Yeah, Nick is just in his element, seeing all these finishes. Good for him. Yeah. Everyone looks so happy. Rob Ellis.
Yeah, I think we do have our third place male finisher sitting behind us. So I don't know if you'd want to tell us about your experience or not, or if you're still recovering a little there.
All right, here it is.
Hi, Ariel.
Good. How did it go?
It's great. Mix of pretty much everything, descending and ascending and rocks and roots. And so if you like everything, then this is a good race to run. So,
Is this your first time doing this race?
the race, yes, but I've run at Pine Mountain. I used to run out here a lot. I live in Auburn, so only about an hour away. So this is the closest place we can come to get any kind of decent elevation gain. So yeah, but overall, well-run course.
That's awesome. Any insight you would give to people wanting to run the course or run it faster?
Make sure you train on technical trail and get plenty of elevation in during the week. I would say at least 5,000 feet a week if you want to do decently. So
Now, what were you listening to?
everything. I'm embarrassed to say this. Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, you say. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So a lot of Morgan Wallen. And also Coldplay. So extremely embarrassing moment.
Running the gamut.
Yeah.
Any Taylor Swift?
No, but I thought about it, but I already had Coldplay and Morgan Wallen, so that was about as far as I was willing to go.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. And
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We're about
Congrats.
to get our first female 19 miler coming through. We will see who it is, and we'll get her on.
Oh,
the stream.
Emily Anzik.
A
Not
legend.
surprising.
Yes, another Alabama runner, and no stranger to this course, who always is going, I don't know how it's going to go. And what does she do? She comes out and wins in only her fashion. And I can't wait to hear how she feels on this course. You look up the leaderboard of best finishes, and her name, I feel like at every guts race,
Yes.
you see Emily Anzik, you see Will,
Yes.
and just such a great family. And she really helped inspire me to get into trail running. So
Oh,
when
wonderful.
we talk about, the community who inspires you, who got you into this, it was definitely Emily, and the friendliest person that knows everyone, doesn't know a stranger, and just, comes in and is just flying. And will literally talk all of it. Incredible.
That was a great finish.
Emily, come on over here. Yeah, she is, and she's training for a triathlon too. So she just does a little bit of everything when she's not taking the kids to, sports practices or dance. I mean, she has 2 kids, so it's really cool to see that she can come out, crush it no matter what.
Someone who can do it all, like we were talking about.
Amazing. It is so fun to see, and comes year after year to this. So
Yes, and she doesn't even look like she's breathing hard.
oh no, she was probably chatting the whole time, which when I was racing with her, we were doing a Red Nose half marathon. She literally was talking, and I'm like, how is she running this pace and chatting like no big deal?
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes, that always kind of scares me of runners who can do that. I'm like, okay, you have another gear you're not even showing me yet.
I mean, if you're doing at this pace, imagine if you just, put the pedal to the metal.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously she does, and does it, flawlessly.
Yes, absolutely. And we know you mentioned she is one of the record holders on this course. So it'll be interesting to hear how today went for her with it being a warmer day. I think everybody is experiencing that heat as being a little draining and needing to pay some more attention to that heat.
Oh, yeah. And being used to it. And, like what our third place finisher said, he's used to technical terrain in Alabama and it's not too far away. And so, being like this is, easy peasy,
Right.
which they make it out to be, which is, very, I don't know even what to say about it.
That's how you know somebody's good, is they make it look easy. It should look like, oh, I could do that. And it's like, oh, that is hard. That is hard.
They make it look so easy, and then you actually do it, and you're like, oh wait, no,
Right.
don't do this at home.
Right. Have an advisory on it.
Oh, especially some of these technical. It depends on what part of the South or even around here you go on. It can get pretty dicey with the pine
Yes.
straw or the leaves and the rocks.
Definitely it can. And it sounds though like the rain actually did a good job today. I know a lot of runners. I was talking to some friends who were running out here, and they were worried about the weather making it more slick and more dangerous with water, with mud, things like that. It sounds like the rain was actually pretty instrumental in dampening down the leaves.
Which, definitely has its advantages. And depending how long the leaves have been down and seeing some of the trees still have leaves may be a good thing. So I don't know. I guess, as more people come in, it'll be interesting to see if the perspective of the 40 milers are different than the 19 milers.
Absolutely, yes. And especially depending on, it's sounding like most of our finishers have been experienced both with the course or with races in general, and I think the 19 is a pretty approachable race for new runners, new to trail racing. Looks like we have another 19-mile finisher coming in. 3 coming in. There's going to be a couple coming in now, I hear. So we should see a couple people shortly.
Awesome. No, this is great. It's starting to really fill up, and seeing everyone with smiles on their faces, and I'm sure also ready to be finished.
Yes, that's the smile of sweet relief sometimes.
Oh, definitely. I know. They see that, I don't know if it's the clock or, the finish that's getting them more excited. All right. Got a local Atlanta runner with Atlanta Snack Club that does, speaking of great group runs and great courses, always some fun and adventure with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It looks great. I've got more finishers. All 3 really coming in. Then got to stop the watch. Oh, thumbs up. So people are actually happy. And Sally has to chase them down for their medals. I mean, that's half the fun, is getting that medal, that prize, that sense of accomplishment.
So, although, can we call them medals for this race? Because I believe they are made out of wood for this race.
So what do we call them? Wood chips?
Yes, they're really big wood chips.
Wood medallions.
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
This is what we got on the flyer. We got more finishers. So what they do and what we can see is they have to, where the start was, they come across back where the start is, cross the road, and then come into a parking lot where they see the finish line and the clock. So we can see them making their approach. So we kind of know, but obviously we can't see their bibs to know if it's a 19 or a 40 miler. But we know also depending how they're running. So hopefully we'll see some soon, but it is wonderful to see that feeling. And now I know when the finish line announcers feel when they see these people crossing the line.
Absolutely.
The sense of accomplishment they must feel.
Yes, they kind of like, hey, I know you worked hard for this. Good job.
I mean, I think we're working hard too. Are we going to cross the finish line, too?
Right. I haven't been running my legs, but I have been running my mouth.
Which
Does
is
that
harder?
the mouth.
Oh, yes. Oh, and here it comes, more finishers. Oh, and he's getting all the high fives too. Another one. Oh, he's ready. Emily, you want to come over? Yes.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yes. She. No. One question.
What's up?
Come over here.
Oh, you gotta see me?
Yeah. So here is our female winner for the 19 miler. Yeah. How was the race?
This is one of my favorite races. So I wanted to run it easy because it's not been a good couple weeks of training. Lots been going on in my life. So it's always a lot more fun when you start slow, right?
Yes, and can pick people off.
Yeah. And I'm really glad it didn't rain. And it really feels like when we started, it was so wet, and it feels so much better now.
Good.
How many times have you done Pine Mountain now?
Probably. Actually, I should go get my phone. Probably like 5 or 10, and I've done the 40 a couple times. But I should get my phone and show you. This last night, I was on the porch with my husband. We were having a fire, and one of the awards that we got a couple years ago is the coolest thing. It's a treehouse. Not treehouse, sorry, birdhouse. And it has a shoe as the place that the bird goes into. And I've got a picture in the past, like probably 5 years ago, of a little owl sitting in that, like an owl made it. It's a tiny little owl made it its home.
Oh my gosh.
So anyways, I've got that
That's so
picture.
cool.
I brought it to show everyone.
Absolutely. So what keeps calling you back to this race?
I like it because it's close. I like it because it's usually pretty cool. And I love these trails. I actually get to train on them more than most other trails that I go to.
I would say, where's the rest of the family? It was weird to just see you and not see.
If he's not running, usually he's not coming out here. We have a lot going on right now, so he's at home working on the go-kart for miles.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a gymnastics meet yesterday, so it's just go, go, go.
It's incredible that you can do all that, mom, and work. I'm
sure I'm not
crush
the only one.
Hey,
Everybody's
but
got stuff going on.
You make it look so easy.
Well, thank you. I'm saying it's not.
Well, thanks for having on. I know you have, recover and get some lunch and everything.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yes, thanks.
Hey, congrats on your big accomplishments recently.
Thank you. I told everyone it's thanks to you and our red nose and meeting up.
She beat me at my own strategy.
Oh, what strategy?
People that would start slow and finish
Oh, yeah.
And she was with me basically the entire race and just outkicked me at the end. And I can't say that I ran that race easy because I was throwing up when I
Oh, my
finished the race.
God.
Pull over on the side of the road several times on the way home.
She's describing our race at Red Nose, and it was neck and neck, and she was talking, and I was very intimidated, and then tried to pull away and close, and
she did.
But we've been friends ever since, and I'm very grateful for it.
too. I'm gonna get something.
All right. All right. See, this is what we're talking about.
Congrats to Emily, and it looks like we've got some updates from Josh coming our way.
I will step out.
What do you got for us, Josh?
Hey, I just wanted to stop by and tell you about this development in the men's race. So the leaders in the men race have passed Foxton, and that's about 5 miles left.
Yeah.
Went through about 5 minutes ago, and Conrad has shrunk the lead to only a minute.
Oh.
So it's going to be interesting to see her at the end, who comes in.
Absolutely. So what you're telling me is Corey had the lead for all of the race,
Yes.
still has it,
Yes.
but it's a lot shorter of a lead than it ever has been.
Yeah. He's probably feeling Conrad back there at that last aid station.
Yeah. And they're only about how far between each other right now?
Well, about a minute.
About a minute. So
Yep.
that gap can be closed or that can be held. That's not a lot of space right there.
It'll be interesting to see how these guys perform here in this last bit.
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
I believe it's about 5 miles left once they get to Fox Den, right?
That's an awesome. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's about 5-ish left. Every trail miles are ish.
5
right?
trail miles.
Yeah.
5, 7. something.
Right. could be 3, could be 10.
All right.
But we think it's around 5. right.
I'll let you guys know when the women start getting closer.
Thanks, Josh.
Wow, I
right.
did not expect that turn of events. It's gonna come down to the wire.
Yeah, well, speaking of, racing and starting slow and kicking at the end, just as you and Emily were just talking about that you had that experience together of like, okay, can we keep things moving? Can we keep it rolling? And who can kick at the end? This race may come down to that final kick.
And I think it's not being, intimidated. I think it's like you may race someone that has a lot more experience, like when I raced Emily, and saying, no, we got this, so we can keep up. And what do you have to lose? Like, you got to play to win. So, knowing, like, getting outside your comfort zone and really pushing it, it's like, this is what we train for. This is why we practice. This is why we do speed workout. So we can really compete and go to battle. Because I'm sure when people see someone, a pro like Corey, towing the line, it's like, can I compete with a pro? And it's like, over a long period of time, over a long distance, anything can happen, especially in a trail race.
Yes, and that is the beauty of trail racing that I really do enjoy, is that anything can happen. And so, if you play to your strengths, if you play to what you know of yourself, the old, run your own race kind of a thing, while also just, being aware of what other people are doing, you can kind of decide how you want to run your own race.
Definitely. And I think it shows you, being comfortable with the distance and knowing when to push, because once again, you push too hard in the beginning, what are you going to have when it's time to close, when it's time to really get there?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Feel like now I'm ready to see them now. And I'm like, oh, you still got to cross, 5 miles. That's still, could be about an hour-ish, give or take, depending on what they're hitting. They will have a couple downhills in that as they get closer. And then once they hit the field, that'll be pretty flat. But that should still be a little bit of time before we see them.
Yeah, they'll smell the barn and know, and maybe they'll smell what's cooking, and they'll be like, all right, come on, let's go. Let's get that, lovely meal that we have ready.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, no, it's going to be down to the wire, and I'm sure it's just like how the women's race is.
Yeah, we've got another finisher
Yeah, one closing.
Absolutely.
And I think the sun is trying to come out, know?
Yes, I might take off my sweatshirt. You said it was warm earlier, and I would. It was warm, but I am just cold.
Oh, for sure. And I'm sure the runners are feeling it, because it's about, I would say, 20 degrees warmer when you're running.
Yes.
And, these are really motivating me to go out and when we're done and go out for a run too.
Yes.
How can you not be inspired by all these people taking time out of their day to race,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we've seen all the runners come in have had a solid, let's call it a sheen of sweat.
Glow.
A glisten. There's our, that's that young cross-country runner I was telling you about. That is a solid performance.
Look at him come in.
That. We got a trail runner in the making right there.
Oh, looks like he could do 20
very strong
more.
Performance.
Do you want to join us?
We're
He's
gonna
feeling it a little bit.
Enjoy the ground.
Oh,
sitting on the ground
yeah.
for a little bit, and then maybe tune in with him. But that was a really good performance on his part. He may have been. I'd have to check the stats. He may have been the youngest person to just finish. That would not surprise me in the slightest.
No, made it look easy.
Yeah.
It looks like he felt it,
Yeah. I know. I see him wearing some Solomons, so we'll have to hear his take on those. But he's been new to trail running, and he is just taking to it like a fish in water.
And I mean, I wonder when the next female will come up. It just shows you how experienced, and Emily being so proficient on these trails that she just gapped the women, which is so wonderful to see. And I mean, maybe I'm biased because she's a good friend, but it's wonderful to see her continue year after year.
Absolutely. No, I remember, as you see people's names on Ultra Sign Up and at races and things like that. I was volunteering at a race once, and somebody asked me, "Oh, you're Emily. Are you Emily Anzik?" And I was like, I would be so honored, but no.
Yeah, and here you see what path that the 19 milers went on in order to come to this finish line. You see it's a little bit of a lollipop out and back, and then doubling back to where they started. So they get to see the course and then see it again, but a little bit more familiar. So when they cut back to that out and back portion, they know what to expect.
Yeah, and over 3,000 feet of gain in that 19 miles. You can see from the elevation profile, really not a lot of flat at all, just up or down, really rolling through. This is the 40 now. It'll be a slightly different course, but there are overlaps, of course, with that 19. They just get to see a little bit extra. Like Jonathan, our second place male finisher, was saying, you get to see some of the more rugged sections of the trail and just get to see a little bit more. And then there's some overlap as they finish out and finish at the same place.
I wonder, as the 40 and the 19 finish together, if, they may feel like you say, when you see someone ahead, are they like, oh gosh, got to pass them? And it kind of gets that level of, maybe camaraderie, but also competition, because you don't know, is it a 19 miler? Is it a 40 miler? Do I need to pass him? Like, what kind of aspect that may give?
Absolutely. Looks like we've got another 19 finishing now. That's such a good point that I think you see that with a lot of like out and back courses that have multiple distances where you really... Oh, I just heard we've got the runner coming in right now, I think has a torn hamstring. So extra kudos to them for mustering through and not calling it quits. That's always a hard call. That's always a personal call of when you say, okay, I'm going to push through and finish what I started, and when to say, no, I'm going to be doing more damage.
Yeah, and just being smart. But sometimes it's like, it's okay to call it. You want to look at having longevity in the sport and not being too dumb. I mean, sometimes we can make dumb mistakes, but you really have to put your health first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is just tuning into yourself, because we will all have our own limits, our own thresholds, and of course differentiating what is pain that's just pain and what is pain that's an injury that will kind of take me out of the game.
Definitely. And here he comes in,
we got
determination on his face.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it from how he's running. He did good.
Oh yeah, nice. With some speed goats on, as we see.
Yeah. All right.
Nice, a lot of local, Dunwoody to Atlanta, finishing up. Here comes the torn hamstring. He is coming in. Good for him. And here is our second place female coming through. So nice job on her, finishing strong. Smile on her face. That's awesome. Oh, do you want to join us? Yeah, and here comes our second place female, Monica, also local to Auburn. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats.
Come on over.
Come on over here.
Yeah. How did that feel?
Catch your breath.
Yeah. Felt good.
Yeah.
It was I love this course. This is my second time doing this race. And so I'm just really happy to be here. Really happy for Emily. So she's amazing. So So yeah.
Yeah. Did y'all have a strategy coming in about podium and all that, or have you all trained out here a lot together?
Yeah, so we strategy, it's one of those like you have a strategy and then things happen and then the strategy changes and then mid-race the strategy changes again.
Yeah.
So one of those kind of things, but yeah, we in Auburn we're limited. Of course we have Chihuahua, which is awesome, but we do for hill training we come out to Pine Mountain and Cheehaw. So yeah, very
Nice.
familiar with the trails and it's always beautiful. I feel like every time of year it's beautiful out here. So just happy to be here.
That give you an advantage, you feel like?
Yeah, definitely one of those things where I know all of the hills because Emily takes me on every single hill. So I kind of know.
Sounds familiar.
You're not going to run the whole thing. You don't have to walk the whole thing, but kind of a combination of jogging, hiking, running, walking.
Yeah.
So.
And you get to come home with a nice trophy.
Yeah, first time ever placing at a race.
Oh,
congratulations.
Extra congrats for that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you worked hard for that.
Yeah, that was good. That was it was fun. Met a lot of fun people and good conversations.
So will you come back and do this again?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to make it back on the podium.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely won't be my last time.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Go
Yes.
enjoy the food and,
Awesome.
all that. Way to go.
You're welcome.
See, it's great to hear the camaraderie and the friendship and the training together that happens. You can be competitors during the race, but after, before and, after, it's all about the camaraderie and building the friendships and the training runs.
Absolutely. And I believe that was Monica. She even said about Chiaha that does have some fantastic good trails too. You get a lot of elevation there and some technicality, especially on the sections of the Pinhoti that are in Chiaha State Park. I think a lot of us know about what is affectionately known as Blue Hell. Going.
Yes.
I'm not sure which is worse. I know which is worse for me. I like going down Blue Hell. I do not like going up it because I can just knock that out. It's just a controlled fall going down.
Well, and you like downhills.
Exactly. So I got to work on my up at Blue Hell.
Oh, for sure. And once again, I think the training, the confidence, knowing you can do it. And it sounded like there was no doubt in her mind that she could do this. And to get a podium, what a better way to spend a Sunday.
Yes, what a nice surprise for her. And it didn't look like that was very hard for her. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is not the last podium for her.
I know. I would love to see the training and everything that went into that. And that's the reward of a race, is to really, take advantage of the training and, celebrate it. I feel like that's what a race is for you.
Yes, absolutely. And people will use races for different things too, that, like you said, like people can use them as like, okay, this is the culmination of my training. I think some people, looks like we've got our third female coming in.
Wow. Nice.
Fantastic.
Nice job.
Good. Wow. Looks like she worked hard for that.
Mm-hmm. And she has some great Christmas socks on.
Yes,
She's
perfect.
got that holiday spirit ready.
We got to be festive after all. Even if it doesn't feel like Christmas, we can bring Christmas to the South.
Oh, 100%. Good for her.
Oh.
Yeah, she looks like she definitely worked it and felt the sweating. We'll see if do you want to come on?
Hey,
Here, come
congrats.
here. Yeah, we'll get all of our podium women to come on the live stream. Mary, how'd the race go? Here, come over here.
We embraced the suck. It was great. I met a friend along the way, Liz. She'll be coming in any minute. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, this is your first time doing it?
Second time.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, we knew what we were in for this time.
Yes, and still
and you still signed up. No, I'm kidding.
Signed up. That's great.
Awesome. And will you be back again?
I'll be back.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Go enjoy. We
Congratulations.
wanted to cheer you on. Awesome. I love that friendship and that, you meet a friend. You never know.
Absolutely. And then you can become training partners, or like you with Emily, like inspiration. It just it can start on the trail and go from there.
And it's good to always see a friendly face. When you show up to a race, you may think, oh, I won't know anyone. And then all of a sudden, it's like you see everyone or people that you don't expect. Or you meet people through. And it really all of a sudden culminates to a great community that you're like, I met that person. Or you, over the time, you're like, how did we even become friends? How did we meet?
Yes.
And you learn that you have so many connections.
Yes, and I think too a lot of that is most of us are looking for belonging, right? And you know, want to be accepted, seen, and heard. And so to show up boldly into this space and be willing to introduce ourselves to somebody, say, hey, you know, we're basically running together. Like, my name's this. What did you think of that part of the course there?
Definitely.
There's some easy topics to kind of introduce into conversation and find new friends.
And I think you have a common denominator in running, in outdoors, and maybe a masochistic way of struggling and pain. And, you know, once again, going through a shared experience. So it's nice to have that common bond. And I guess this is Liz coming up.
Yeah.
Mary's new best friend.
Looks
Finishing
like a
strong. Oh, wow. And she got a puppy and everything. I mean, that's what a finish line is all about.
That was a good kick.
That was awesome. And I think the dog is more excited to see her.
The dog is very excited about her finish.
That's awesome.
I mean, I would, back to our running for dogs. Just tell me a dog is at the finish line. I'm going.
I know. We should have not only the bibs for the runners, but the bibs for the dogs, so we can really, you know, embrace
appropriately
and cheer on the dogs.
Yes, I would absolutely do that. Yes.
I love
Right.
it. Priorities.
Couple 19 milers coming in now.
A lot of local Atlanta runners coming through, finishing strong.
Got a couple.
I wonder if they see the road sections and they're like, oh, I don't have to deal with rocks and roots anymore.
Right. They can finally open up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, he just wants to take a seat, want to be behind the scenes.
166 is cranky with one to go left.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple more. They want jokes. I didn't know. Are we getting paid extra for that?
I'm really good at dad jokes, but really bad on the spot. I can think of funny puns as things go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope he's doing a great stride, or they're doing a great stride, and they, you know, want to make that great photo finish, you know?
Right.
You got a different posture, a different way. Oh my gosh, this guy's wearing long sleeves. Does he not know it's warm out?
Yeah.
But he's finishing
right.
strong. Look at that.
Got a good runner there.
And a nice hug.
Right.
What's more rewarding? That, he cranked through that. Made it look. I think he won the 100-meter dash too. The sprint to the finish.
That was a good kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is the way to test if your shoes work in the long run.
Oh, 100%.
Literally, they got to work in the long run.
I think it depends on the first 100 meters and the last 100 meters.
Right. And you always got to look good. You start strong, end strong. Nobody sees the in between.
Oh, yeah. Look good, feel good.
Right. He did good. They all have.
Once again, they just make it all look easy.
All right, keeping up the finishers coming in.
I've even lost count. I wonder how many have come through.
We got Brian. I don't entirely know how to say his last name. Scores.
We'll just say Brian. We're on a first name basis. They're best friends. We're all friends here.
Yes.
Just say Brian.
Brian leads a group. I believe it's called One Life. One Life Active. Good group of runners, athletes, just trying to get the best from their running and from their lives, from their living. And he really does live into that example. And
Oh, wow.
so we
They're
see him
all
kicking.
finishing. Look at that.
That's Brian kicking in the orange.
Wow.
Kicking it into gear. Very well done.
That's incredible. And I think we need to take a moment to thank our sponsors too.
Absolutely.
You know, we wouldn't be here, the race wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our sponsors of Hoka, Big Peach, and Public Lands.
Yes.
You know, the Guts organization and everything. You know, thanks having the sponsors as a part of this race.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know we've kind of thrown some of those in subtly as we've gone, but Hoka's out here today. They've had some shoes available to test and just create some really good shoes and just really good experiences. Public Lands has always done a good job with the outdoor spaces. So some of that is trail running, but some of that's also hiking and mountain biking and rock climbing and things like that, that really trail runners, we can kind of get into that space too, or go to the trail camp and then go run, right? And Big Peach too is going to be there for your running shoe needs, your fueling needs, and that does include road shoes if you need to hit some of those road miles. They do have shoes for that as well.
And bikes too, you know,
Exactly,
cross
yes.
training or taking a break from the roads a little bit. If you want to get into biking,
Yes.
go to, you know, Midtown or Brookhaven for any bikes and cycling needs.
Yes, and there's even some pickleball shoes too now. So
Wow.
it's not at all the locations, but some even have pickleball.
That's incredible. I mean, have you played pickleball before?
I have not, but it's like all the rage.
Yes, I've heard it. I don't know. Once again, I got into running because I have no hand-eye coordination. My dad always thought I was tall. I could play basketball or play, you know, kind of sport like him. Nope, fell up the stairs. And also, truth be told, when I was younger, you know how in putt-putt you have those lakes? I fell into one.
Oh no.
And it was dyed blue and I looked like a Smurf.
Oh,
so that
no.
really ended my putt-putt career and any chance I had in really having that coordination. So we knew at a young age that, that was not going to be my forte. So running was the way to go.
So all hand-eye coordination sports, those were kind of out the window then, huh?
It's a good thing this running thing was good. And looks like we have another female coming through. So what I love is when you see a field, seeing just as many women participants as men. And it's wonderful to see that sense of community where, you know, usually in some races it's so male dominated, but to see more women active and like I say, being part of Trail Sisters and encouraging that.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's one of the things about the trail and ultra community that is beautiful is we have such strong women, and that's a solid kick right there too.
Incredible.
Strong women, strong performances, and especially once you get into the longer stuff, a lot of it comes down to strategy and smart racing, which women. I won't present the view that we're better at that, but we maybe have some different strategies sometimes, and depending on the course, those strategies can matter.
I think there was a Runner's World article that did say that women are smarter about pacing, and you know, I know a couple friends that will say similar, especially in strolling gym when I may have passed them in the last mile.
Right.
So, you know, here's another finisher coming through. Getting that medallion, getting that hug.
Yes.
I mean, what more could you ask for? Yeah, he looks great. And it's interesting to see people's different strategies. You see the hydration vest, you see the handheld, you see the belt. You know, it's interesting to see. It just depends on what works for you. And I think one thing that's key to have a successful race is practicing it. You know, in your training run, you're like, hey, does a vest work better? Does a belt work better? Does a handheld? And really dialing in and not waiting till race day to do it.
Yes, and what works better for you, right? Because everybody has an opinion. Everybody's going to tell you, well, this is the thing. This is how you have to do it, right? And you know what? That might be what works for them, but finding what works for you, and these runners are all seeming to tune into that of what do they need, what's good for them.
Oh, for sure. And, once again, we're all different runners. We all have different expectations and different needs. So it really is all about what works for you.
Absolutely.
It's just like when you go to Big Peach or Public Lands, the shoe that works for you may not work for me. So it's good to really get that experience and see what works for you.
Absolutely. I will get so I do work at Big Peach, and I will get people who ask me like, oh, so you're saying this is the best shoe? No, absolutely not. I'm saying it's a shoe. What do you think of it? Right?
Oh, for sure. They're like, what's the fastest shoe? What's the best shoe? And it's like, we don't just have one shoe that's the fastest and the estes or the superlative. It's like what works for you. And I love when we have the side-by-side comparison where you try on two different shoes and you put them on each foot and you see what works for you. Because I could say something and I could be totally wrong, which never happens. Look at the amount of good points. Look at the amount of good points I made today.
Right.
So it's really about what works for you. And it's adorable when I see families coming in and the kid looks to the parent and it's like, well, what should I choose? And it's like, well, the parent isn't wearing the shoe. It's you.
Yes. Yes. And I think too that's it's a point that can be extrapolated into regular life as well, right? That sometimes people will have opinions on, what's your career, or how should you structure this part of your life, or how should you balance all the things we're trying to balance, and to be able to kind of draw out of that, like, well, again, it's not their foot that's in the shoe, it's you in the shoe, it's you in the life. Let's tune into what you need and what's best for you.
Oh, definitely. I say when we do our being a guest advocate, it's a lot of F words. Not those F words, but it's a fit, it's a feel, and then we go with the fashion.
Right.
Because we all like the colors and everything.
The look does matter. The look does matter. And I do think I go faster in neon yellow shoes. I think that one's been clinically proven.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone wants to see you. It's funny, when I was doing high school track races, we didn't have lights. And I wore neon green shoes. So my friend Kristen, her dad would always be like, hey, neon shoes is coming.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and here comes Chris Herron. I ran with him in Dunwoody. So it's great to see he's always doing trails and always talking about different adventures. So I love seeing like people coming by.
Absolutely.
He looks he's used to Dunwoody Hills and local Atlanta. He's used to this. This is no problem.
Yeah, just a little more leaves, just a little more rocks. But if you run in Atlanta, you know what hills are like.
Oh, definitely. I feel like, people are always like, how is this race? Is it flat? And I'm like, Atlanta flat?
Right.
Or like rural people flat? Yeah.
Right. What kind of flat? Illinois flat?
Right.
Or like Chattanooga flat?
Because I don't know, other than maybe the Beltline or the river, do you get a flat Atlanta?
Yeah, down by the river, like you get your Columns Drive.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's about
Like, can every race be like
Yes, Merrill's Mile.
True.
Merrill's Mile is flat. Even that is a little cambered, but it's pretty flat.
Yeah, I mean, so I think a lot of these people you see a lot are local to Atlanta are probably used to Atlanta Hills or doing the trails around Atlanta, the Kennesaw Mountain or, Cochrane Shoals or even Sweetwater, which, are great for the guts fat ass, There's so many. We get very spoiled being local to Atlanta, the amount of trails we have around.
Absolutely. And I think that translates well too, where, if you cultivate good speed on hills, and then want to come to a race like Hot to Trot, where it is flatter, that's up in Bowling Park in Canton. That is going to be a faster course. So you can decide, do you like the hills and the technicality? Do you like the flatter, faster? And that there's the options for all of that on the trail.
Now, do you believe that hills pay the bills?
I like to say that I'm a thrill seeker with an emphasis on the H in that, the hill seeker, because they're thrilling.
Thrills in the hills.
Yes, exactly.
That's wonderful. And I feel like some people, when they do longer distances, they forget about the speed work or hills if you're training for a flat race. But I feel like hills give you a certain amount of stamina and a certain amount of speed that once you're used to speed, you're like, or hills, and then you're on flats, you're like, wait, no hills? I can move faster. It gets you that turnover. Yes. But I think also with hill workouts, you need to practice downhills because I feel like in a lot of races, we're so focused on uphills, climbs, but those downhills I feel like can just totally make or break your race. If you're not used to that pounding, race can go a different direction.
Absolutely.
And it's not up.
And that can be very challenging when you have downhill, you're generating more shock impact, you're generating more force. And so even if it feels easier to run, it is harder on your body, not even accounting for whether or not you have good technique, whether or not you're braking, whether or not you're bracing yourself, things like that, that maybe we don't want to do on a hill, but that it can cause a lot of impact and force to the body. And so as a result, not just training the downhills, but even doing some strength training and protective work.
Definitely. I think we got the most colorful shirt of the day award already.
Wonderful.
More holiday spirit.
Yeah. Now that's a good running shirt right there.
That is quality. I mean, really festive spirit. And another female runner.
Wonderful job, Kate.
Oh, yeah. Great job by her.
Yeah.
Made it look easy. You know, once again, we talk about the people that come in floating.
Yeah.
She came in like, like no big deal.
Right. It looks like everybody really has had a pretty good day. I do hope that runner with the torn hamstring, hopefully he can get some good attention that he needs and some good care.
For sure, you know, and I feel like that's one of those things, better ice and do all the right things. I mean, we are not medical professionals. He should probably seek medical help. But as someone that's experienced that, I feel like also as a runner, you experience all the different injuries.
Absolutely, yes. I don't think there's been something I haven't had yet, with the exception of maybe something breaking. So knock on wood that won't happen. But you know, there's the injuries that you can kind of suss out, and you can figure out, okay, I can run through this, and some that you really do have to take some more attention to, and that can all also depend on the person.
Yeah, and I think, you know, working at Big Peach, they always have a PT come in during a group run and really learning more. And we've done a lot and a lot of good training on, you know, some people come in with shin splints or stress fracture or plantar fasciitis. I feel like that is always, I don't think we go a week without someone saying, yeah, I have this ache or this, where I feel like they sometimes think that we are medical professionals and we're like, no, but, you know, maybe try this, maybe try that, you know, give that disclaimer. We are not medical professionals, but we've experienced it. We feel your pain.
Yes. All
So.
right.
But we got another runner coming in, and I think we should have the 40 milers coming in shortly.
Yeah, that's looks like they've been going for a little over 7 hours now. So it
Yeah.
looks like maybe about 10 to 20 minutes is kind of what we're hearing. Probably more on that 20-minute side of things. And they should be on their way. Well, they are on their way in, but they should be here in about 10 to 20. If they're not on their way in, I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to frolic in the woods a little bit more.
I mean, yeah. I mean, now that the sun's out, why not?
Right.
Get their money's worth.
Right. If you take longer, you get more of your money's worth out of it.
Maybe one of the aid stations was just so enticing, like we talked about.
Right. This is the tricky thing of why I keep signing up for long races too. All right, we got a good job to Ed coming in.
Awesome. And great graphics that we have as a part of this broadcast, just to really make it more personalized and special for the runners and the viewers at home, so they know when, their friend or loved one is coming through, they get that finish line feel and they know what's going on. I love it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think what we're talking about of sometimes a race will be one price for a 50 miler and like $20 to $50 more for the 100 miler, or one price for the 19, one price for the 40, right? That if you start calculating it out, a lot of times more cost effective per mile to do the longer distance.
Are you trying to sell me on a longer distance?
Absolutely. This is how I sell myself every time. I'm like, well, it's really like I'm getting a bargain.
Cost effective.
Right. So when I'm out there suffering, I'm like, yes, but I saved. I was, in theory, smart.
It's not just the buckle, it's also the cost efficiency.
Right. So that way when people tell me I'm crazy, I'm like, no, this was logical.
Yeah,
on
cost
some
effective.
level. Right.
I'm getting my money's worth. And a great cheering,
Yes.
We got the finish line cam ready for more finishers. Love it.
Now they're
another
doing
female.
good.
I love the shirt too.
Absolutely.
I like it. They're like, finish, stop the watch.
Right.
Post on Strava.
Oh, you got to make sure the watch is correct.
Oh no, Strava didn't happen.
Oh yeah. Oh, my first 100 miler, my watch was short, and I had a couple people be like, "Hey, are you gonna keep running?" I was like, "They measured this course. The course is what it is. I'm letting it be."
I would have asked if you cut the course.
Oh, ridiculous. Never. Trust me. No, I was hobbling around that course. There was no idea of cutting.
Which one was it?
That was Rocky Raccoon. And it was colder, so I was running that in Texas. My friend was running a marathon in Antarctica, and I'll give you a guess of which place was colder.
Well, I feel like it's a trick question, so I'm going to go with Texas.
Yeah, it was Texas. It should be Antarctica. It should always be Antarctica.
Oh my God.
It was Texas. So I dealt with a little bit of hypothermia, which, as we were saying, like we have to learn how to problem solve, and by experiencing what that was like, by kind of making some mistakes there, learned how to better deal with it in the future.
Now, did you know going in that it was going to be colder?
Not really. It was my first 100,
True.
so I basically brought my entire closet. So there was an abundance of caution. But as I was driving, I believe it was Louisiana, it started snowing. And so we just rolled with the punches, and it ended up working out. We got it done. Yeah.
That is wild. I can't imagine Louisiana getting snow.
Yes. Yeah. It was a little dangerous to drive through, actually. But it ended up, working out okay. And there we see Todd Henderson with the Pinhoti Trail Series
And he's
coming
skipping.
in.
He was skipping.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Oh,
He's doing great. There we go, Todd Henderson.
Yeah, RD of the Pinhoti Trail Race, along with others, a regular finisher, and I saw that his grandson and his wife were all there.
Oh, wonderful.
I feel like it's always a family affair with the Hendersons.
Absolutely, and what a good family they are. Just hearts of gold, all of them.
Now, do you think he takes notes when he sees aid stations or different trails? Or he's thinking about, his own races and kind of shopping around like a secret shopper when he's doing races?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but they have really good aid stations. So it would take a good aid station to put a bug in their ear,
I just wonder. I'm like, does he look around and he's like, oh, for next year, maybe we should add this. But I feel like with them for 16 years with Penhody, they really have it dialed in.
They do. They definitely do. Now, I know I was just at No Business 100 earlier in the fall, and there was an aid station that had steak and pierogies, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Middle of the night, that slapped. And so that definitely went on the list of, hey, this is a really good idea.
You don't get that at road races.
You really don't. No, you're lucky if you get goo, and even
a banana.
Right, right.
Oh my god.
Right.
Oh, we got another finisher. See, we need more cowbell. That's how we know.
Right.
The true calling.
That's a trail race right there. It's a cowbell
awesome. Another great finisher, and then shortly we'll get the 40 milers, and we'll see who is getting that race, who still has leads. Is Corey? We'll tune in and find out. Very excited to see how it all unfolds, and also in the women's race, is Holly going to continue her dominance, or are some of the other women going to come through?
Absolutely, yeah, that will be good to see. Looks like we have another
female finisher.
Oh.
Nice, coming through.
All right, and some more dogs. We love the dogs.
Yeah. Speaking of Henderson family.
There we go. There's an amazing.
Wow. Nice. Run through it. And once again, you just run through that tape.
Right. Yeah, you got to keep it strong to the finish. That was amazing.
Awesome. Yes. Good. You never know. You always have to run straight through.
Absolutely. Right. You don't stop at the finish line. You run through it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And it's good because you can't just hold up. You never know who's behind you.
Yeah, we got some more finishers coming in.
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
Wow.
Oh, smiling, getting that hug. We love it.
Yeah.
We should also have a hug counter coming through, Yeah. How many hugs have been given?
I think it speaks very highly of.
How many hugs are we at, Nick?
Not
Hello.
Oh.
Hi.
Y'all are doing awesome.
Yeah,
As are you.
Do y'all need any food or water?
We're good. We're just waiting for the 40 milers.
Okay.
Yep.
Y'all are doing
But I appreciate
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
Our fearless leader.
Yeah. All right. So we do have a report of a 40 miler coming in, but we don't know who. So we've got someone.
Corey Waltering coming through. Our first place male finisher in the 40 miler. Corey, we'll get him on and see what he has. Oh, he looks like he wants to do it again.
Now that was a solid race. That was a very good race.
Yeah, he's looking to catch his breath.
Oh, he fought for that.
Last race as a North Face athlete, and we'll see what's coming up next for him. I heard he's got a big 2024 coming up, but he looks great. He looks like he had an absolute blast. I know he signed up a little late for this race, but wanted to do something local as someone that's moved to the Chattanooga area and, was excited to see these trails. I mean, he's used to Penhody as a Penhody Trail FKT holder. And,
wonderful.
Lots of Chattanooga races under his belt. Cruel Jewel.
Yeah.
I think he just loves the South.
Yeah, loves the Beast Coast.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's helped him for all of his worldwide adventures. I know he's had races all across the country and the world. So I know these just make him feel like he's at home.
Absolutely. And then to kind of be like, hey, yeah, these are my trails and this is what I play on. It does give some good confidence that can be very necessary, especially if the when the race is coming down to it and you have somebody on your heels.
Yeah, I wonder if the aid stations gave him notice that Conrad was closing and he may be coming up shortly. So it's good to see, that he finished and really, didn't let off the gas and just kept that pace going.
Absolutely. And held it all day.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear his analysis of how he played it out, and like you say, this is his first time on the course. So unlike Jonathan and Brian and Emily, they're used to it. They've run these, I don't think Corey had seen these trails before yesterday.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to hear his impression for sure. He's probably catching his breath a little bit while we have some other 19s coming in, 19-mile finishers.
Nice. No, it's great to see them finishing, and then we'll see who comes up next to round out that podium, and also see what the women's race is turning into.
Absolutely. And it'll probably be a little bit longer before we see the 40s and the 19s really overlapping a little bit more, but so it will still be pretty 19 dominant for a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to see smiles on people's faces, and that's, like we talked about, that's such an accomplishment. I mean, it's not every day you can go out and do a 19-miler, but I think we may have some more updates, maybe from the women's race.
Absolutely.
And I'll get them come in.
Got a couple 19s coming in. Oh, and here we've got a good update from Josh. What you got for us, Josh?
Yeah, I wanted to give you guys an update on the women's race here. The top 3 women have come through Molly Hugger. Holly's continuing to pull away from the group there. She's got a solid 30-minute lead now.
30-minute lead from Holly Adams. That's amazing.
But Maria took over second place. I heard that Joanna was having some stomach issues.
Okay.
So she slowed down a bit, but she's still hanging on there. She's only 4 minutes back from Maria.
Okay. Yeah, stomach issues can be quite a challenge, and they can make or break a race. So, but it sounds like Joanna's keeping that going, and she's fighting hard for it. But Maria's moved into second place now. Yeah. Wonderful. All right, they are strong women, all of them. So we'll see them then a little bit behind. Seeing our male finishers, you think?
Yeah, hopefully we'll see Conrad here in a few minutes, and we'll get to hear from those first 2 guys and see how that went.
That sounds
like there was some excitement on trail.
I think so. Yeah, sounds like some good trail drama.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
We know drama around here, and that's a better place to see it unfold than live on the live stream and see, how it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like there's been some shifts in the female race as well, just like there were shifts in the male race, kind of unsurprisingly, but also just that the runners who have been leading, Corey and Holly, Corey finished in the lead, and it sounds like Holly will be right around there too.
I can't wait, but. Like you see, in a longer race, anything is possible. Some people are like, oh, they have the lead, no problem. But, it just takes a little bit, upset stomach, not fueling properly. Simple mistakes that, can happen that can really alter your race. If you're not paying attention, you go off course so much.
Or even just simply tripping, catching a rock, things like that. That it really is just never counting those eggs until they're hatched.
Oh, definitely. And really not counting yourself out.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, especially if there's bad weather, if someone drops and all of a sudden you're, in the lead.
Absolutely. Looks like we've got someone else coming in now. I don't know who yet. But they're looking good, looking strong. A good finish.
Yeah, they know they've got a hug and a wood chip in their future.
All right, a wood chip. All right.
Love it.
Yeah, that was a good finish.
So cool. Good. Yeah, and once again, I don't think you could ask for better weather. We got real lucky with how they forecasted everything this weekend, and it wasn't too bad,
You're right. I think if anything, we're hearing it was almost a little too hot.
Who would ever think that it's possible in December?
Right. Oh, any Atlantan who's been here for more than
True.
a year.
Yeah. Even, you think it's going to be one way yesterday. And,
Right.
I thought it was going to rain all day yesterday and it didn't really much. So,
Uh-huh.
we got really lucky and to be out here and enjoy it and then have people stick around and cheer for both the 19 and the 40 milers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not having a nice chat with the RD. Hopefully all positive things.
No, and I'm just noticing too how her shirt matches her shoes. I think that's the Saucony Endorphin Edge, if I am eyeing that correctly. But that's a good level of matching going on right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
we've
then
got-
Neil, someone local. He's
Yeah.
probably been around these courses as Columbus isn't too far away.
Yeah.
But good for him. Also rocking the Hoka Challengers.
Yeah.
I feel like this is more of our runway and a red carpet. And
Right.
say, all right, what are they wearing? What shoes,
Who designed your outfit today?
Who designed your shoes?
Yes, your shoes, your pack. What are the important parts? Yes.
Priorities, Some people look at what they're wearing or anything and we're like, nope, stick to the shoes.
Right. Now, I did see something recently that somebody, it was a joke online. They were like, okay, my partner told me to wear my most expensive outfit for a really fancy dinner with the parents. And so they come wearing all of their gear because that is, if we think of your most expensive outfit, get there. All right.
Priorities.
Congrats to those gentlemen.
Yeah, running strong, hard through the
Wow.
tape. Awesome.
All right, Trey coming in.
I know, with the button-down shirt, all business. I guess he's going for the business casual look.
Absolutely. That's, business casual. Definitely.
Love it. Yeah, looks excited. I think he wants to do it again.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're hearing from most people is they're like, yeah, I'll sign up again. It is good to see, good to hear.
Yeah, priorities. So, yeah, and then we should see, just shows you the amount of lead that Corey had on second place to, finish. And then we're still waiting for second place and also the women. So we see how far of a gap he closed. And once again, just knowing how to pace this.
Right, and knowing that there was a gap and then wasn't a gap and then was a gap again. It seems like Corey kept a kick in him, and once he knew he needed that, he turned that on.
Oh yeah, and also having an out and back. It's like you're familiar, like, all right, I don't have much longer. All right, this is a downhill, and really being smart and strategic about your race.
Absolutely, and when to kick where, and then even if you don't know the course, that out and back, you can recognize that and be like, hang on, I know this.
Definitely. Do you implement those strategies when you're doing a race or an out and back?
I have technically never done like a strict out and back. I've done point to point, I've done loop to, but like parts that do contain an out and back like this race. I'd say mostly I'm kind of feeling out where I am, and what you have left in the tank, right? You're kind of playing with, what do I have left? Can I push now? How much do I have left? And trying to weigh that for sure.
Oh, definitely. And knowing, especially in a longer distance, to not really give it all.
Right. Actually, Nick Schuster, the RD, taught me, you only have so many matches to burn. You got to make sure you don't burn them all at the beginning.
Ooh, that's a good saying. That's good.
Save some matches.
That's a good point.
Right, thank you. I was bound to have one. You got to save some matches, and then at the end you get to burn them.
Oh, yes, you definitely. And we're seeing people as they finish really burning it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can tell some people are happy to kind of cruise in at what the pace they've got, and some people are like, oh, I'm kicking now. I'm kicking hard.
Oh, definitely. It's great to see. It shows that they're really pushing through and really ready to finish strong and hard.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Oh. And also just wanting to enjoy the festivities. Some races I like to do the shorter distance because you get a better chance of getting, the food at the finish line.
Yes.
Like the fat ass chili cook-off.
Yes.
If you only do half, you don't get the great chili.
Yes. Now I did do the 50K last year, and it's a little hard leaving the hall and saying nope, I'm gonna go back for more while everybody's kind of inside having a good party. That is a mental challenge there.
Yeah. The problem with the loop course is you're like, how many more loops do I have to?
Right.
But also it gets in, like we talked about, that routine where you're like, nah, I know what I'm getting. But also I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yes, and what you like mentally, and kind of even playing to your strengths there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another local Atlanta runner coming through with the 19 milers. Ooh, and a female closing
good
in.
That looks like, is that Amber?
It's Amber.
That is
Amber
Good job.
finishing strong.
Wow.
Awesome.
That was a good kick from her.
Oh yeah, she must have seen another female behind her and finished strong.
Yeah.
Incredible performances we're seeing.
They were racing right there. Oh, for sure.
Definitely, they hit the pavement and finished strong.
Yes, absolutely. Now we got another female, not too far behind them.
That's awesome. Love to see it. And we're seeing more people continue on, or I am on my angle. Maybe we'll switch at some point so you can see as they're coming through.
Yes, yeah. It is good to see though how communal this race is. Now we've got a good pavilion here. Everybody's kind of hanging out. It's a good day for that. So people can stretch, refuel, replenish, and do that both physically and, emotionally too. Just reconnect with each other.
And recap what they just experienced. Did you feel that? Did you go through that? What did you think about that? And it's nice that you have someone that can really, understands what you're going through, because it's great when you have your friends and your family there to support you, but to have someone that also just said, oh yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Or, hey, did you do that too?
Yeah.
It's really cool that they understand, and you're like, all right, I'm not the only one.
Right. This part of the course here, this part of the course here. What'd you feel? What was that like for you? Absolutely.
Definitely. And forming that bond like we talked about. It's great to see and seeing, you may be neck and neck, but afterward you get that hug and that thank you for keeping me accountable, to really keep me, engaged.
Yes, and I can think of several very strong women that I have raced against who have brought out the best in me because of that, right? Where they're pushing and I'm pushing, and then you get to the finish line, and at that point, at least to me, it doesn't matter what place I came in. It matters that we got to our better selves together.
Oh, for sure. And brought out the best in a race, because you wonder, if you didn't have that level of competition, would you really take it to the next level?
Right. I believe the Latin of the word, the Latin root of the word to compete actually does mean to strive together. So it really is not a antagonistic force, but a synergistic force.
Oh, wow. Interesting. See? Pearls of wisdom.
Yes.
Just going,
That is what I'm here for.
I'm here for it. So what have you thought about so far in this live stream? We're now about 3.5 hours in. Can you believe it?
This has just flown by. I'm sure the runners have felt every step of the way, but it's been very cool to see the 19s and the 40 milers, well, one 40 miler come in.
Not just any 40 miler.
Right, not just any 40 miler. It's been amazing to see an incredible performance. And I'd love to hear his take, but I'm sure he's also recuperating and recovering from a fantastic effort.
Yes, he told me he was going to come back and give us an interview. He was going to get a shirt, kind of change,
yes.
and then, let us know. Or maybe he was just avoiding it and dodging it. But,
Yeah. I mean,
I'll give him a hard time with that. But knowing him, he'll want to give a little recap of it. Get the fans what they want to hear,
Right.
And
there's Todd
there's
right
our
now.
second place.
Wonderful.
He's coming through, finishing
right.
up strong and really holding it down. And he's had a very impressive 2023 as well. He's showed up at a lot of races, very competitive, top near the leaderboard podium finishes. So to cap the year off with another podium finish is incredible.
Yes, and unsurprising.
No, not at all. So we'll definitely get to hear his perspective. And also, did he know how close he was to Corey?
Right, and you can kind of even see them catching up. I'm sure kind of trading those experiences like we were saying, and that kind of like, hey, thanks for chasing me, hey, thanks for being chased, kind of all in that of thanks for striving together.
Oh yeah, and maybe become friends for life. Having that shared experience. We're just gonna play out these narratives, like, oh yeah, they're best friends.
They're
now.
besties now.
My gosh, they're picking out the same T-shirts and everything
going
else.
to the same races.
100%. Pacing each other.
Yes.
Crewing.
Yeah.
We're forming a new bond.
Absolutely. I know that has happened for me, right? Where I have absolutely met friends that then were like, hey, we're actually around the same pace. So, if you need anything, hit me up.
Definitely. Or just like, let's go for a run. We're the same pace.
Right.
We get each other, maybe same jokes and personalities, sarcasm.
That's important. It's important.
Very much. I feel like you really measure someone if they really get your dry humor.
Oh, mine is you got to be good with dad jokes. That's like, you got to be okay hearing them. You don't need to tell them, but you got to be okay hearing them because I will tell them.
Awesome. I mean, priorities.
Right.
Everyone loves a good dad joke, a good pun.
In my head, everybody does. Sometimes I don't think that's bearing out from the groans that I hear, but I really think that's just because it's peak humor.
Oh, I mean, and it's like relatable and everyone gets it and it's not too crude, where it's family friendly.
Right. Exactly. Oh no, but the runners all did a really good job, and we can see everybody kind of gathering themselves. Looks like some people brought changes of clothes, some people have just taken their shoes off and have replacement shoes. Some people don't. Everybody's kind of finding what they need after a race too, which I think is an important point of, I like to bring a pair of flip-flops to change into, usually UFOs that are super soft. Have some clothes to change into, some wet wipes in the car to just, to get some semblance of cleanliness back.
Definitely. Or maybe some of the newer runners are checking out what other runners are wearing or what they use, and they're like, that's a great idea.
Yes.
I know when I was crewing for Ben, I saw some people having tables or different gels or carrying certain things, and I'm like, that's a great idea. And now that it's holiday time, it's a great stocking stuffer.
Hi.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
you want to come on?
You want to come on the live stream? Yeah.
Yes. Todd, come on up.
Oh.
Yeah. So we got Todd Henderson coming up. We saw you skipping here. Come
on over.
So you're in the shot. So,
so it was a
family
fun
friendly.
It was a fun race, huh?
Yeah. So how did you feel during this?
That was fun. I haven't done it in like 7 or 8 years, so it was. It was a lot that I didn't remember about the trail. It's a lot rockier than I remember. So yeah, it's a great trail though. I loved it. Had a great time.
Now, how does it feel to compare being a runner versus the RD? Which is harder?
It's so awesome just to be able to come out and run.
Yeah. I bet. And now these trails are pretty technical, but you're not a stranger to technical running the Pinhoti Trail Series.
That's right.
Oh, you got some company.
Hi.
You want to join?
We got another runner in training joining us.
What's his name? What's your name?
Can you tell us your name? No, we might be shy right now.
Are you going to go for a hike? I like your shoes.
Hey, that's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man.
You got Spider-Man on your shirt, which is probably the coolest shirt here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, who is this? Who did he run? What did he do today?
You're just taking it all in. It's a lot to take in.
I feel the same way.
You're so brave.
Okay.
Good job. You gotta train him right. He's a young runner in the making, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's little Hudson Yawn.
Aw.
So do you have any other races coming up? What's next for you?
Really, this is all for Mountain Mist. I wanna. Well, I have goals, but I'm not gonna mention those.
Nice.
Hold them close.
So yeah, well, the main one's to finish under 9 hours.
That's a good main goal.
So this is great coming out here today. It was a lot of fun.
And hopefully the weather will be the same.
Yeah, no, I do hope for cold weather.
A little bit colder.
Yes.
Yeah. This one was hot.
I'm loving the cooler weather.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, we always appreciate how much your family, your races, you do for the community. So it's always nice to see that kind of, just to see you all out here.
Awesome. Good to see you guys.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, our
Thanks.
pleasure. Thanks for
And
hearing us
congrats.
ramble for hours.
Yeah.
I guess your family.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Y'all have a good one.
Couple more finishers coming through.
Right.
We're just waiting on those 40-mile finishers too, as well as some two have come in, Corey and
Yes.
Conrad, and then hopefully we'll see Holly shortly.
Yeah.
And get to hear the recap.
I'll be interested. Now, Holly was first female and second place overall last year. It'll be interesting if she can make it in the top 3 overall this year.
Yeah, get another podium overall finish.
Exactly.
Which, knowing her, would be no surprise.
I would not surprise me in the slightest. I don't know where the other guys are, so where people will shake out. But looks like we're actually getting some good photos in now from the race. That looks like Amber. I don't know where about that is. Perhaps Molly Hugger.
Yeah.
But that looks like fun was had.
Oh, definitely. And, with Pete out here doing his, I mean, you will see probably after the race so many great photos. I feel like he captures all the moments, and it's a great race if Pete is out doing the photography.
Yes, and that's Pete. Now, I think I say his name wrong too. Pete Schneider? Schreider.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does some fantastic photos and does a lot in the Southeast, and just has a really very cool outlook on life too. So he's always so kind, so affable, and he will for sure have some good photos that take in the runner experience, but also get that other side of things too, that just bring a good awareness to all of that.
And just capture those moments, it's just wonderful to go and reflect back, because we'll be like, oh, do you remember that moment? And it really captures the spirit. And I think he's done such a great job. And it also helps us, when we don't always have the live stream, to really see what turned in the moment, what changed, and just the whole emotion of a race. I love the ones, especially some of them that are black and white, where they're at an aid station, the grit, the crew helping, where it really tells a story, where we may not see it, but we can see it unfold in the photos themselves.
Absolutely. Now we got another 19-miler coming in, but we do also have our 40-miler winner ready to talk to us today about what his experience was like,
in between.
what it's like to race Pine Mountain Trail Run.
Thanks for joining the broadcast.
Yeah, this is awesome. Live stream,
Yes.
This is great.
Thank you.
So how was it?
It was hard. It's one of those just really cool races where there's like super flowy trails, some really rocky stuff, some technical sections. And so you really just have to like be thinking all the time as you're out there.
Think?
Yeah, right? It's like, what? And it's just so funny because like it's beautiful. Like the trees are different colors out there. You have some great views, but you can't spend like any time looking up because the terrain is just like ever changing.
You'll be looking down because you'll be on the ground.
Totally. But yeah, it was fun. Went out probably way too fast. But that's okay. I don't know. Like mentally, I'm in a good spot. Physically, just haven't put in the training to go out as fast as I did.
Now, did you know Conrad was closing in on that second half?
I had no idea what was going on in the race. I was just like, I'm here doing my thing, and whatever happens, happens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so now that 2023 has come to a close, and what do you have looking forward to in 2024?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. This is my last race as an athlete for the North Face.
Wow.
So it's kind of exciting to go out with a win, and just enjoy it, really. I mean, I really did enjoy all of it today. 2024, still trying to nail down a couple things. Unfortunately, didn't have any luck in, the Western states or the hard rock. So that kind of opens up the summer for some things, and then maybe some big FKT plans for the fall.
Ooh, I can't wait to see what happens. I'm sure, knowing you, it will be an adventure and something exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we were talking about the difference between West Coast trail running and East Coast trail running. Do you have a preference and why?
West Coast is fun when you want to run fast. East Coast is fun when you want a challenge. And so, I don't think you'd find a course like this on many places on the West Coast, to be completely honest. Because a lot of our trails here, have the rocks, the roots, the mud. Nobody believes in switchbacks on the East Coast. Like everything is just straight up or straight down. There are leaves all over the trails. Whereas when you go to the West Coast, it's like I almost feel like I'm running on a red carpet or something, which is really fun. Until you get to some of the sky races like Broken Arrow or the Rut or Speed Goat, and then it's just a different type of racing.
Absolutely. And you ran a fantastic race out here. For anybody who's looking to go either longer or faster, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I do a lot of just really easy miles. Just a lot of time on feet, just being on terrain like this, getting really comfortable with it, because I'm originally from Illinois. So I've only been down here for 2 years. And so it's definitely been a learning curve, just trying to figure out how the trails flow and how to deal with the rocks and the roots, because we just don't have that up north. And you don't really have that a lot of places either. So yeah, it's, I say just a lot of easy miles.
Easy miles. And yeah, we were actually talking about Illinois earlier, that it's pretty flat, I would say.
It is, and Allison just ran really well in Illinois.
Yes, she did. Yes.
Well, I had a lot of good advice from a certain someone that's done well on that race too. I don't want to name any names.
Well, see, now you should just come do this.
Right.
I'll just stay behind the scenes and just watch in awe as all the runners that have come in done a tremendous job, and embracing the weather and the elements that in the South, as you've seen.
Yeah, it's hot today.
Yeah,
it's almost 70 degrees. It's December whatever it is, December 3rd, and it is hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And humid.
Yeah, which is the East.
It is the South.
Right.
It's the most wild thing to me though, because driving around yesterday, it's Christmas time everywhere, Christmas lights up, Santa Claus, everything.
Yeah.
And I have the sunroof open and the windows down in the car as it's Christmas decorations everywhere. It still is so wild to me.
Absolutely.
And then in 3 days it will be 20 degrees.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally.
So, but no, we appreciate you taking the time, coming down here, experiencing it, and enjoying the atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, crushing it.
Yeah, and I'll be back.
Awesome. So yeah, so do you feel like the people that have been on this course, you bring up a good point, do you think knowing the course has its advantages, or do you feel like not knowing what to expect was good?
Not knowing was fun, just because it keeps things really interesting. But I do think the more times you're on this course, the better you'll run it. Because I definitely would have done a few things different today. But you know what? It's like, I don't know, it still worked out. But yeah, I do think that there's something to, either training on the course or just running something multiple times. Same with like, if I were to run Lookout Mountain 50 mile, it's like, that's in my backyard right now. I've been on those trails so much that I think I could probably run well. I'm not going to run Lookout this year.
Oh, definitely.
Now, how do you pick what races you want to do every year?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. And with everything going on with like UTMB right now and like all of the big monsters and all of that stuff, people are saying boycott UTMB because, they're getting too big or they're, crushing these smaller races. And, there's nothing wrong if you want the UTMB experience. Like if you want to pay for that and go do that, then great, you go do it. But at the same time, I feel like it's really important to just support the smaller local races. And I mean, I honestly challenge some of the elites to get out here and, sign up for the 19 mile or the 40 mile. I mean, if you can run, a 3-hour long run, 4-hour long run or whatever, then come out and run a hard 19 mile. Like that is great training as well. And I mean, look at this race. It's been around for 43 years. I mean, something good is happening here. And, I think that other races can survive also. If just, if the elites want to boycott UTMB, then great. Come do stuff like this. Like, not everything has to be, the big production. Just support small local stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that why you like doing local races?
Absolutely. I love doing local races. And then when I get the chance, I'll fly somewhere else and go do something fun.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not that local stuff isn't fun, but it's like if I can drive to it in, within 3 hours or whatever, then absolutely I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're setting an example for other elite runners to come out and support locals and that it's easy to do and it's such a great community atmosphere?
It really is, I mean, it's easy to do. It's something that we're already out there training anyway. So like sometimes it's a supported long run. Sometimes it's a supported hard effort. And sometimes even though it is a local race, it can still be super competitive. Like Stump Jump 50K used to be one of the most competitive 50Ks in the country. Way Too Cool in California started out as a smaller race and now it's like a 900 person 50K, So I mean, there are things that can be done if you don't want everything to be UTMB focused.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. And I think there's nothing better than supporting a local race and a community atmosphere to keep it going because it's that participation and the investment that helps keep these running strong and gets us to do a live stream and share these experiences.
Absolutely. And I mean, I got noticed by the North Face 4 years ago or whatever from doing a bunch of like local races and winning a bunch of stuff like that and just getting like a solid resume from that. And I mean, if I wasn't doing those local things and had just raced the bigger stuff, probably wouldn't have been noticed by them, And so I really do think that there is something to be said for supporting local race directors, smaller races, and just keeping that community going.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And I'm hearing too in that even that using races sometimes as like, yep, I'm going out, that's the goal. And sometimes it's a supported training run where you get to experience something new, maybe a new trail system, maybe a new community, and you get to run it how you need for that day, for that training block.
Absolutely, and it's a great way to do it, and it's just fun to be around all these people. And honestly, it's like if elites want to be ambassadors for the sport, then what better way to do it than actually be out there in the communities in which you live, because like if you can be elite, but if you're not going to actually show up to some of the local stuff, volunteer, help out, run it, whatever, then like what are you actually getting paid to do?
Yeah.
Right. And you're practicing what you preach. You support local, you love the community, and you do it. And you embrace it. And I love it.
Yeah,
so
well,
appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on and inspiring us through your performance and your words today.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right.
We'll look forward to following you in 2024, whatever that holds for you.
Oh, yeah. It'll be fun. It'll definitely be something to follow.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Thanks, Corey.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, see, this is what's great about the live stream. You get to have that one-on-one and get to hear straight from the athletes and hear what's going on and having people support local. I think, once again, it is great to have those Western states and all those, but there are so many other races and so many other experiences.
And I think that it's been really cool to see, you know, to have an elite runner on, to have a race director on, to have just local runners on. You kind of see how the community can come together. And yes, we know Western States Lottery just happened, right? It's a real rough chance of getting in. And we hold this race up very highly for some very good reasons, right? But that there are also so many other races, to Corey's point, that get you in the community, giving back and also experiencing.
And getting noticed. And also every race gives you an opportunity to get better. Like even someone like Corey is learning from a race. Like, you know, it's not, he's done probably hundreds of races, but he even says like he learned something on this race. So even elite athletes are learning every race, which shows you it's possible. And that's all about the experience, that not being afraid to put you in those positions where you're learning. And it's okay that you don't nail it, that it's not, I mean, he did, but he said even him has room to grow. So it's great to see.
And it looks like we do have another 40-miler coming in.
Wow, incredible.
We'll see how they feel.
Yeah, awesome.
Hey.
Who? Actually, they are a 19-miler, so false alarm, but hey, we roll with it. So we're just waiting to see the rest of the 40-mile finishers. So far, we've had 2 in. And seeing also who from the women's side will come in and take that podium.
Yes. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Holly any second now.
I know. I can't wait. I hope before the broadcast that we get it. And now we're getting more photos of finish line and other elements of the race, getting those photos in and getting that experience.
Wow.
Awesome.
Somebody lost us at the starting line. It was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe make an announcement.
So I guess it looks like a snake, I guess, necklace?
So we have a snake necklace here up at the pavilion. If you lost a really gorgeous snake necklace, it's kind of a brown cord, and then it appears to be glass with some gold and black in there. A glass snake necklace up at the pavilion. We will have that waiting here if you lost that, or if you know who did and can point us to them, we can get that back in y'all's possession. So we do see some good finish line vibes happening right now. You gotta make sure you remember how the day went, or forget some of how the day went and remember the good parts.
Having memories.
Right.
They may be good, they may be bad,
Yeah.
but you learned something and met someone new or learned something, right? That's why we do these.
And I do find I forget about the suffering a little bit. I'm like, that was really fun. My friend will be like, you were puking your guts out on the trail. I was like, yeah, and it was really fun. I mean,
let's do it again.
Right. Yeah, just give me like a day or two and like give me ultra sign up pulled up on my computer, and good things will happen.
100%. Oh, we got another finisher, another 19
good job,
miler,
Charlotte.
finishing strong. Awesome. Getting that hug and just feeling that sense of accomplishment with another pair of speedgoats on her feet.
Yes. And I know our live stream in terms of the broadcasting is going to be over in about 6 minutes from now. We will keep the camera on the finish line, so people will still be coming through. But I did want to alert our viewers to that. If you all basically see us leave, you will still have the finish line up. We will still have all of that going. But I think it's kind of a question now, will we see those 40 milers come in before then or not? And it should be sometime soon.
Hopefully. I'm very excited. But no, this has been a great experience and wonderful opportunity. So I'm so glad that we got to spend this time and really review a lot of stories, share experiences, share moments, and bring it to the audience.
Yes, for sure. And it's such a historic race. Corey said it, other people have said it. This is such a long-standing race that has a lot of history here and has a lot of history for other people, right? We see the people coming back repetitively and just how this is kind of a race of December for the community.
Definitely in a family-friendly atmosphere. And, you can choose any race. And the fact that people keep coming back to this race just shows, how wonderful it is and encouraging other people to sign up for next year.
Absolutely. And what a good job that Nick Schuster really has done, just bringing some soul to Pine Mountain Trail Run. I know he's put a lot of work into a lot of the swag. There's cool swag that the runners always get, and then jackets, shirts, hats available for sale here at the pavilion. Getting some fantastic sponsors. We talked about Hoka and Public Lands and Big Peach. I think he also had maybe Salty Britches along with them, which is a really good anti-chafe product. That's actually the only thing that has come close to working for my blisters.
Nice.
I hear there are magical people who don't get blisters running 50s and 100s.
Wow.
But I'm not one of them.
I am not one of them
And
either.
Salty Britches plus toe socks has been a game changer where I still blister, but fewer than ever before.
That's good to know. I always, you're always looking for those new tips or tricks or what can keep, because what are some common things that runners face?
Yes. Blisters, chafing, fueling, all of that, right? And so just like we were saying, it's really like a one size fits one. But hey, what worked for your one, and maybe I could adopt that into my one.
Or try it out. May work, it may not, but at least you're learning a lesson too.
Exactly, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we've got about just shy of 2 minutes left here. I really do hope we see another 40-mile finisher. We'll see if that happens. I know they're looking forward to
Josh, do we have any updates?
The finish line.
Do we have any updates? Yeah. No updates, but, we're keeping our ear and eye out and, listening in and seeing if we have any other updates before we wrap up. But, we want to thank everyone, Phil, Josh, everyone for making this possible.
Yes.
Thank you for making it possible.
Yes, and when we say Phil is the wonderful producer behind all of this, making this happen. He's been the one making sure, on the simple side of things, like the mics work, the cameras work, stuff like that. But he's the one coordinating all of this, getting each video on here, getting that course on here, jumping us back and forth, and really just turning this into a production of a high caliber of what we see out west, right?
You should be getting the Emmy anytime now.
I'm in. I'm so in. I'm putting this on my resume.
Obviously, you should.
Yes.
I'll be your reference for it.
Thank you. Fantastic. I'll be your reference. I got you.
See? We're just bonding the memories and everything. So this has been a wonderful experience. And I appreciate everyone tuning in and letting us know how it goes and really supporting it and supporting Guts.
Absolutely. And I think with this has been Pine Mountain Trail Run. This is Pine Mountain Trail Run. We're so proud of Guts, proud of Nick Schuster, proud of all the sponsors and volunteers and the runners, everybody who made this possible, just to be a day that we all get to experience.
For sure. And we hope to see it again soon and hope it encourages others to follow suit in the live stream.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day and keep watching as runners keep coming in.
Yeah.